sound.
The penis is
No.
evil.
Okay, sound. We have sound now. Why would you say that when I'm unmuted? Why would you do this? Why would you do this to my stream?
They have to only hear the second half of the Zardos quote.
I think I muted it in time. I'm not sure. I can't really go back and check. Look, we're watching Star Trek. 30 days where Tom Paris gets a worse punishment than for literal treason he committed. Counterpoint, which is... It's Nazis again. Why does Voyager have so many Nazi analogs? It feels like every single week. Could they stop? That'd be great. I mean, it's a good episode. Just... Come on.
I went back and checked, and indeed, the penis is evil.
No, stop it.
It's audible in its entirety, and it's what the stream opened with.
And the third episode is Latent Image, where the writers can't decide if the Doctor's a real person or not. Some episodes the crew loves him, some episodes they're like, no, he's just a program, who cares? It's very inconsistent. In this episode, they decided, no, he's not a person today. But, should be good anyway. Let's see, what else is there to really say? I mean, 30 days, Tom Paris gets sentenced to solitary confinement for a full month. Solitary confinement. For breaking the Prime Directive, to be fair, but they do that all the time. In fact, Janeway's gonna do that in Counterpoint. But it doesn't count when Janeway does it.
Well, Janeway can't exactly put herself in solitary confinement.
Sure she can.
That's a clear conflict of interest. She can't adjudicate on that matter, and no one else can. Therefore, no justice is necessary.
Okay. But when Tom Paris was literally convicted of treason, he was just sent to New Zealand. Beautiful New Zealand. Where he lived in a little village.
Who's gonna court-martial Captain Janeway, freaking Liquid Boothby from the Liquid Dimension?
I mean, is she gonna tell her reports when she gets back to Earth in a couple seasons? Because I know she gets promoted to Admiral. I have to assume she left out most of the details.
The Voyager crew gets back to Earth and immediately sent to jail for all of their space crimes.
Yes. It's a lot of space crimes. Oh, we don't interfere in other people's internal affairs. Meanwhile... Oh yeah, we're just gonna harbor all these fugitives and transport them to...
Like, the Equinox did even worse, you know? Like they would admit, and like, as soon as anyone asked them any questions about how they got back, it's just boom, instant jail.
Look, they're just aliens. What else are we gonna use them for if not fuel? No, we haven't. That's season 6?
Oh good, we get Evil Doctor.
Oh, Equinox, according to what I have scheduled out, is January 22nd.
Oh boy.
2023.
The Nova class is such a cool looking design, but they had to make it evil, you know?
It's not the ship's fault. Don't blame the Nova. Though I don't think the Novas ever accomplish anything. They're a ship that's built to die. They're like the Miranda of Voyager.
What did the Nova class get to do? The Nova class succeeded at anything?
No, never. They're built to die. It's not the ship's fault, but that's all they do.
Oh yeah, it was in an episode of Picard where it did nothing. Wait.
Also, 20 seconds until we press play, so everyone be queued up to Season 5, Episode 9? 30 days?
Oh wait, no, yeah, Nova class gets screwed up in Picard.
Yeah, because it's a Nova class, that's what they do. What you should do, though, is press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Make sure it's all blurry. The CSS... What's the CSS Doherty? Why is it CSS? Oh, Confederation starship. Okay.
Dang Confederate ship. Oh, there's a Nova class, unnamed Nova class in Lower Decks that did nothing, which meant it didn't explode.
It was in the Battle of Procyon 5. Was that with the Sphere Builders?
Yeah, that one
Wow.
probably
Yeah,
did
it probably
explode,
died.
but I didn't even bother to check because I just assumed that it did.
Yeah, it probably died. So Tom Paris has been reduced in rank to ensign, and I assume that means we're going to promote Harry Kim to lieutenant to replace him, right? Senior officer, designed the astrometrics bay. Has died repeatedly.
They should get Tim Russ to play a human officer, like a different character who just looks a lot like Tuvok, except he just doesn't
They
have
have,
ears.
twice.
On Voyager?
Not on Voyager, but on the other shows.
Yeah. We had 1 Vok and 3 Vok.
One of them was a space pirate, and one of them was a different officer on the Excelsior. Not Tuvok, who was also on the Excelsior. Or was he on Enterprise B? I don't remember.
He was on
They're
Excelsior.
the same set. It doesn't matter.
Because when he had his flashback episode, it starred George Takei.
Hello.
He was a pretty George to great guy. That was a terrible. I don't even know if that counted as a pun.
It's close enough. It works. It's good. So, Mr. Studios, as someone who enjoys modeling starships, have you successfully modeled the Nova class blowing up, which is all it does?
No.
Why not?
Oh, we'll get on it.
Not yet. I have modeled the Nova class almost being blown up.
Okay. That's progress.
But yeah, I've had a nacelle like on fire, but not which happens in the show too. But
Because it's
not
a Nova
completely
class.
blown up. Yeah. I like how I come back after 2 months and the first question I get asked is, "Have you blown up a starship in Blender recently?"
Yeah. Does every series have like one type of ship that's built to explode?
Let's see. Miranda.
In the it was the Constitution.
Oh yeah, Constitution blew. We lost like every Constitution except the Enterprise in the fleet. And then we lost the Enterprise in the movies. Good job.
And the one Constitution that they didn't lose, they renamed to Enterprise.
Which then was lost. Oh
Which
wait,
was also,
no,
that was
that one got put on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, and then TNG was, I mean, a couple Galaxy classes.
Yeah, season 1 they kept blowing up galaxies.
And then we had a combination of kit bashes blown up throughout the rest of the show.
In the good old Oberth class.
The only ship that's never allowed to blow up is the Excelsior class. That's always an admiral's flagship. They just show up, give orders, and leave.
I think Excelsior's got blown up in DS9.
Yeah, there's plenty of Excelsiors that got blown up in DS9.
The Sovereign class
in
on
TNG,
the
they're
other
not allowed
hand,
to.
Yeah. Well, actually, in TNG, we don't see it happen, but there were Excelsiors blown up at Wall 359.
Probably.
Um,
Was the Melbourne an Excelsior?
Actually,
Melbourne was a.
I think there were two.
Melbourne, I think, was a Miranda class.
Of course it was.
I thought it was
Melbourne.
No, I thought it was a Nebula.
No, I don't think so. Although it may change between episodes. I feel like
I thought there were
class.
two. I thought there were two, and one of them
I'm
was
gonna have to
probably the Miranda.
check.
The other one, I think, was.
Okay, yes, there are two Melbournes. One's Excelsior, one's Miranda.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Melbourne was Excelsior.
Which Melbourne?
The
The one that Riker was
the
supposed to get, I
DS9 one.
assume.
But then there was the other. There was the Nebula class Melbourne, which like
Wait, so there were
rescued
3?
people at the end of what am I trying to say?
Yeah, good question.
Oh wait, no, there's 2. All right, so there are 3 Melbourne classes.
Oh, great.
2 are Nebulas, and 1's Excelsior. The Nebula and the Excelsiors both get blown up at 359. One
So there were
one in
2
Emissary.
in existence at the same time?
Yeah, one in
Yeah,
Emissary, and
whatever.
one was just a wreck in like a background shot. I feel like, and then there
More
was
proof that Wolf 359 was fake. It's a hoax.
yeah,
It's not
and
real.
and then I believe the Nebula class Melbourne was the ship that rescued the crew at the end of Generations, but actually I think there are just 2, but they did exist at the same time.
That's just weird.
I want you to know how I ended up in jail. It was a Prime Directive violation. The end.
It's what it always
This is the so I guess
the
you're wondering how I
Farragut
ended
is the
up
one that
here
I was thinking
episode.
of. Oops.
Is this
I want
the
to
only
tell you
time
how it all
anyone
went
ever
down.
gets in
I
trouble
thought
for violating the Prime Directive?
Yeah. I mean, Kirk did it, 20 times? Picard did it another 20 times. Janeway did it another 70 times.
And think about all the parallel timelines in which she did it more.
Hmm.
Good old Admiral Janeway coming back.
Yeah.
Also, it's the Delaney
Is that
sisters.
the Delaney sisters?
Yeah, that's the Delaney
Wow!
sisters.
We finally get to see them.
We've been hearing about them for 5 years.
They were like, who can we recruit? We need to find twin actors, and everyone's like, I'm not going on that weird show. Ugh.
And then the one time they do find them, it's for a holodeck episode. Well, not a holodeck episode, but a holodeck scene.
A
Completely
really weird
unrelated,
holodeck scene.
really, to the normal. Yeah.
I feel like since like his legs aren't restrained, he could easily just like kick that thing and tip it over.
Mm. Kim is
Harry,
not
you're ruining
thinking
my
about
immersion.
such things.
Space jail.
Shoot them,
I have a
Tom.
lingering cough.
Is that how you
Made,
do you
like,
spell
guest
toots
appearances.
like toots?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's correct.
That's what it said on the subtitle. That's how you should pronounce it, like toots.
This feels like Sir Galahad in Monty Python. It's like, no, let me stay here and face the peril. I'm sure I can handle it.
Mm.
That's gotta make work weird for them when they're all like grabbing each other in the holodeck. No, no, Harry,
Oh.
nobody likes you.
No, I just like to. I don't understand why like Kim's the less interested or the less interesting one in this scenario when like Tom Paris invited them to take place in a holodeck scenario where he just shoots them with a laser, you know, and calls them toots.
I don't know. Tom can't even tell them apart. He's not even... I don't know if he ever fell for a Borg. It was just...
Huh?
He was just
Well-
sexually frustrated around a Borg.
And the Borg was like, okay, we can do this. And he was like,
Yeah, actually, not unattainable. Just he was stupid.
Yeah, the Borg actually was very. Kim was the unattainable one in this scenario.
Mm.
It's Waterworld.
Wow, it
Because
looks so
like
easy
prepare
to
for
render.
mating, and Kim is like, I left the iron on again.
Ooh, nothing I love more than 1990 Star Trek liquid CGI.
It
It's not too bad, you know.
looks so bad, yeah. As long as they only need like surface waves and no,
I mean,
big
they're
crashing waves or
It was in
spray or
space.
anything.
What they also could have used here,
Oh,
Okay,
footage
that looked
of
weirder.
the ocean.
they're not changing
be
like
whole-
how the water looks when it's cresting or when it's falling down. They're not changing. It's just one solid texture, and they're just
Yeah.
doing a noise map to change the height.
Do they even
did
have
their
an
best,
atmosphere
alright?
on this planet above the ocean, or is there just like no?
this is the planet.
It is just a planet made of water.
The whole thing is water
so-
all the way through.
So there's no thin like atmospheric crust
No.
on
The
water
atmosphere
planet.
is fog. It's just liquid water or liquid water,
Mist.
gaseous water, mist.
Wouldn't it be getting boiled by the solar radiation?
Did Janeway shoot first?
High
I
deputy
don't know. It's
counsel
Janeway, so let's
Burgess.
say yes.
Why are these people always like, you violated our space? They didn't even go inside it.
Well, maybe they own the space around the
Well,
planet.
how would you feel if someone was like standing at your front lawn, staring through your window? It's like, but I'm not
I feel like
inside.
in Voyager's
what's going on
defense, they
there,
had, like,
buddy?
their entire civilization is like hidden underwater. Like there's no space stations or anything. It's literally just water planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
they
so
didn't want people
it's-
to come into their space, they should have probably put some beacons out saying, "Hey, this is ours.
Don't
Go
come in
away."
here. I'm warning you.
Also, did
How
you
do
guys
you
notice that
even-
their ships are straight out of Stellaris?
How do
Yeah.
you even
like,
the Stellaris expansion was based on this episode? How do you even like have a civilization or anything on a planet that is 100%?
Oh, they didn't evolve
water?
here. They just moved in.
you just build buildings inside it and then live in the water. Like,
Didn't their
when you're not
ancestors
actually
build
living
it?
in water, you're living
Or was
in
it?
the air.
Or did they just
inside
move
the
into
Yeah.
water.
something else? Someone else.
I don't remember if their ancestors built it. I just remember they moved in. They don't. This isn't their home world. They just
I
I
hang
think
out.
someone else built it and they moved
Is
in.
there
Yeah.
a rocky core in the middle, or is it just all
No.
water?
It's all
You'll
water.
find out later.
What
It's
do
a
they
big
grow
water.
things on if there's no bottom?
You don't need to anchor it. It's
There is,
just
there is
yankers.
an explanation to this later. The whole point of this episode is because of the question of what's in the middle.
I mean,
many
it's
licks
not like
does
it's
it
not like
take
we
to
all
get to the
haven't seen
center?
this episode already, is it? Right? Come on.
Are these
I just
the descendants of the Gungans?
What?
these are evolved Gungans.
He has a different colored hat. He's important. Does it make sense? Are we sure
Well,
about that,
actually, that's
Janeway?
not what happened.
Why is it all ocean? Is it like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs in reverse, where there's like a tiny thing in the middle that sucks up everything and turns it into water?
I mean, kinda, yeah.
Why contain it? It's cool.
Wait, this whole planet's only 1,200 kilometers across?
It's just a big water ball in space.
Earth is about 13,000 kilometers, so this thing is, yeah, real tiny.
You're playing with a Rubik's Cube there.
Okay, I do not believe Tom at all here. I don't believe for a second he sat through Moby Dick.
I mean, if it was on the little black and white telly, he would do it.
But he said he
Yeah.
read it. That
I-
book
I
takes
tried
I don't think
forever.
he's ever read
Yeah,
anything.
I tried reading Moby Dick once, and it is an impossible feat. Nobody has
I've-
ever read the book before.
Yeah, nobody. I've literally sat down to read it like 4 separate times. I get to the same place like a third of the way through the book where everyone starts singing sea shanties and quit.
Yeah, this is
Like,
this,
no,
this,
it's too much.
this is the problem with Melville when he like set out to write a book that like was one of those like encyclopedic novels that touches on like every aspect of society and human knowledge, is that it just ends up being infinitely long.
Just give me the part where he stabs the whale. I don't need the lesson in shipman.
You don't need to hear about
ship
the many uses for whale. What's it called?
Blubber.
No, not blubber.
Oil?
What's it called?
Well,
I don't know.
The thing for
Cool
the
stuff.
circumcision.
Blue.
Foreskin, the whale foreskin. They talk about that in Moby Dick.
What?
Yeah,
Why?
it's very useful. You can wear it on your body. And like use it to dive or something. They talk about this.
Why wouldn't
They
they
use
take
it to
this equipment
create
anyway? 'Cause,
robes.
like,
That's
it
what
might be
in
useful in the
chapter
world of
95.
Wait, why, Argos, why wouldn't they what?
why wouldn't they take his equipment anyway? Because it could have a use that they didn't anticipate. You know, he does live here on this planet. He might know
Because he's
thing
a
or two
dumb
about
fish
it.
person.
All
we
right, dumb
haven't
fish
established
person.
that these guys are
Sit in that
actually
chair,
walking.
and we'll do all the hard work saving your ass.
See, that CGI was good. What was with that?
They spent 24 hours on it instead of half.
20 minutes. This all looks fine. Why did the surface ocean look like trash?
Because surface was difficult. Underwater, not difficult.
Underwater's just blue murk. Would it even be blue here?
Well, there's still a star.
Would it be more aesthetically pleasing if it were blue?
Jeffrey Combs would.
Oh, the motion that makes it look like the ship was tilting to the left, like it was rolling to the left. That was weird.
Okay, what is this a metaphor for? Is this
I don't know.
another climate change episode?
I don't think so, because
Probably.
it's all about like the machine, right?
This
It's
is
like,
like
oh, we didn't maintain it. Whoops.
This is like the episode with the ooze people from TNG, where like they resolve the conflict of the episode by like kicking it down the can of some people taking a nap, kicking it down the road.
Yeah.
Data goes down to the planet and blows up the water supply.
Oh, is this thing using its shields to not be crushed, or is it actually
Structural
resisting the
integrity.
pressure?
It's made out of
It's
tritanium.
Borg.
His ships
They're
are
using
designed to do the
structural
opposite of what a
integrity
submarine is
fields.
designed for.
They're using Borg nanoprobes to improve structural integrity fields.
Seven's assimilated them into a small collective so they can work collectively to repair the ship constantly.
With their neurogenic energy.
They transferred the neutrino converter to the outer hull integrity field.
They fire a tachyon pulse from their deflector dish.
I wish we could figure out the whole artificial gravity thing. That would be nice.
It's called spinning. That's a good trick.
So, the big secret at the center of the water world is there's a giant depth charge?
It's a giant ice cube.
That generates artificial gravity.
Oh, it's like it's such an old version of DOS on that computer.
It's a fish.
Ooh. Oh, the moral of the story is kill the squid, repair the machine. I think that's it.
This guy reminds me of the dude from Ghostbusters who's really whiny and is obsessed with a lady. I don't know his name.
There's always a bigger fish, Ryan.
He does not remind me of Liam Neeson, no.
Like we're gonna need a bigger Delta Flyer.
It's called Voyager. It's in orbit.
You got
Hold
phasers,
the-
do something about it. It's just a fish.
Can the Voyager go underwater?
I don't think so.
The original
What?
Enterprise can go underwater in the Kelvinverse.
They would
in
suck in
Kelvin,
seawater
right?
through the Bussard collectors if they did so.
Scotty wasn't very
they
happy
can
with
close
them
the
when they didn't
Bussard
go.
collectors, can't they?
Yeah, but then they're not sucking anything in. Is the ship
They
going to
don't-
keep going?
Well,
It's
I mean,
just
they're
to
supposed to
restore the
collect, like,
deuterium. They don't need to be open all the time.
don't they also collect hydrogen through them?
That's
Right.
what deuterium
thing.
is.
Yeah. So, water has hydrogen in it. So just
I don't think
split
this is how chemistry works.
it. Well, you can split
It's like saying
hydrogen and oxygen from each other, and from water, and turn them into two separate things. It's quite a difficult process, but it's one that can be
Yeah,
done,
you-
and it's done.
I'd probably be a separate device.
A tri-cobalt device, probably.
Wait, why are they what? Ah, right. We're in the future again. Or present. Which way is this being told?
I'm trying to find what
what a maneuver.
what fish lives deepest in the ocean. Because this is 6,000 kilometers down here.
Like
25,000 feet, it looks like, so substantially less than 6,000 kilometers.
do you think
So it's a very
down-
tough fish.
Do you think down right at the bottom of the ocean is a giant enemy crab?
If there were, would it have a weak point?
Do you think if it had a weak point, you could attack it for massive damage?
God, everybody loves the giant enemy
probably
crab.
are in. They probably wouldn't be in keeping with the Geneva Convention or something here. Like solitary confinement for an extended period isn't okay. Just let
Well,
them
he's
out.
been in here
Solitary
for like
confinement.
3
He's got a
hours.
guard right there to keep him company.
Probably a little bit better, but not much.
They gotta arrest someone else just so they have someone to put in the clink with Tom.
Oh no.
It can be
They open the
Harry,
door
Harry.
and Kim is standing there like, oh, not again.
We know you haven't committed a crime, but we need you to go to prison. so that
He's
we're
probably done
compliant with the
something.
penal code.
I mean, if you could just imprison Neelix, and then Tom would get mad.
Just in
Okay.
general principle.
Neelix, what number am I thinking of? 67. Wrong. 30 years.
Well, they could put Neelix in jail for all the bad food he's made for everyone.
Put him in jail with all the Leola root stew that he's made over the years.
You drown in it.
That's, yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think Tom would go insane quicker with Neelix in jail with him than without.
Is Neelix even in this episode?
I don't
Probably for
remember.
like half a
It's
scene.
not in her nature to comply with the collective. She constantly doesn't comply with anyone.
She's just being snarky.
When she left the collective, they were probably like, "Whew, thank God we got rid of her."
Yeah,
What are you
that's why
typing
the
about?
queen-
Why are you always typing?
Oh, I'll mute myself.
But what are you
It's just a
typing
Rubik's
about?
Cube. He's not typing anything
researching
intelligent.
all of the Starship
I am
names. Well done.
casually sending in work I did earlier this weekend instead of going down to the office to submit it so I can watch more Star Trek.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, Tom Paris got
So
wet.
they're
Oh, their civilization is creating some kind of waste, maybe? I don't know.
or they
Maybe it's the ink poop.
the giant water attractor whose one job was to attract water is now attracted too much water and the water's destroying it.
I think it's attracted people, and the people are adding to the water, and that's
Do you know
what's
how
making it
hard it
denser. I
is
don't
to
remember.
like make a giant planet sucking machine and also make it waterproof? Just saying. Things don't work great when they get wet, you know? Like even like if you have a waterproof cell phone, you can only really leave that thing underwater for like 10 minutes at most. And you can't get it, you know, too deep underwater. Now, if I like sent my cell phone to the bottom of the ocean, it would not work very well.
Oh, the ocean is part of a landmass, huh?
Oh, it was a lake.
What have
Um,
I done?
you know, all the continents are pretty much part of the landmass that forms the ocean. It's just there's water covering
Yeah.
the continent, the part that's not the continent, but it's all one. Like the ocean floor is part of the
Earth is
continental
one
land.
big rock with a bit of
Yes,
water on the
yes.
surface.
Exactly. There's just a little condensation that's settled on top.
Been a lot of people here for a Voyager episode.
That's because we're here for the iconic Star Trek Voyager Waterworld and Tom Paris Goes to Prison episode, the best episode of the entire series.
Goes to prison again.
Is this the one where he gets
That's a
demoted for
good point.
peeing in the pool?
Yeah, he's all. Yeah.
You know, so
You okay there?
I seem to have struck a nerve with everyone's favorite.
That's the best summary of this episode I've ever heard.
if you want more funny geology,
All right,
Are you
calm
okay?
I
down.
think you can get muted.
he just let him
I
have
didn't
it.
mute, but I did reduce his volume to like 33% so it doesn't blow out everyone's headphones on YouTube.
Just he needs some air.
He was in the brig as a little kid? What?
No, it's just a nightmare. His dad didn't abuse him that much.
Tom
Sweet.
Paris was born in prison and he'll die in prison.
We never see him so unshaved as in this episode.
Tom Paris was
Oh.
arrested at a very young
The-
age for committing the awful crime of being born.
He's pretty unshaven in the episode where he gets into a sort of weird love relationship with a ship. You know, that little shuttle that he gets, like.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
linked to-
Alice.
Yeah. He's unshaven there for sure.
Oh, he's so unshaven.
There are surprisingly few beards in Star Trek. More people should have beards.
The Klingons make up for it.
Geordi gets
I-
one
I-
for like 2 episodes.
Data
I
gets
le-
one for one.
It's easier to maintain having no facial hair than it is to maintain a beard. So, like,
No, it isn't.
For the
Shaving's such a
practical purpose.
hassle. Just
no,
have
you
it.
just
It's
shave it
super
off.
easy.
You don't need to take any care of like styling it or anything like that. You're just like shave, done. In
Yeah,
the
from a
military
filmmaker's
filmmaker's
organization, you do
this
perspective,
is
that.
the
it's much more
default option.
consistent.
Do you think there's like a sonic shaver is like that complements the sonic shower?
It
that
vibrates the
removes-
hairs out of the follicles.
Yeah, it like vibrates hair off your body.
No, they have the Warp 3, the Gillette Warp 3 razor, phaser razor.
Oh god, McCoy's beard. God, McCoy's beard was awful. I don't know
Point,
why
he's
he
had-
looked
he's had a
like he was
couple-
going to a disco.
in
It
motion
was just
picture when
At the start of the motion picture, yeah.
he came in with the bell bottoms and like the gold chain and the medallion, the hairy
The
chest.
apple bottom
beard.
jeans.
Yeah,
Like he just came back from a commune.
from Saturday Night Fever with Grease. I thought in Enterprise when Archer takes the shuttle to the aquatic planet to stop the bomb, that was the first time we see the shuttle enter the water world. But apparently we have it in Voyager.
Well, it's the first time you see a shuttle pod go underwater, and this time you get to see a Delta Flyer go underwater.
it's
the
the
Delta Flyer
Delta
was designed-
swimmer.
Delta Flyer was designed to
If-
operate between pressures of 0 and 1 atmosphere. So, no, actually, they built it to go in that gas giant, didn't they?
Yes, it's built for
Oh.
extreme pressures, which is why it can do this,
There you go.
I suppose. When the Delta Flyer goes back to the Alpha Quadrant, is it the Alpha Flyer?
James Cameron directed Waterworld, which was the most expensive movie that was made before he made Titanic, which then became the most expensive movie ever made.
Likes making expensive movies.
Yeah, now he made Avatar too. But
And he went to the bottom of the ocean.
yes. But he grew up on the US-Canada border, and there was a river that like ran through town. So every day after school, him and his brother would like go for a swim. So he just loves the water.
What's this guy whining about? He said, this could take months, but you've got 5 years, dude. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You've got like 4.5 years you can put this off.
I think it's to show that basically any planet that is facing environmental catastrophe just responds with yeah, whatever.
As a what?
Monaine.
The fish
What?
person.
Oh.
Are they fish people though? They can't. They're
I think they have
migrants.
gills. They look like they breathe underwater.
I think
No.
you didn't need to explain the concept of brine in the veins. I think that,
It's pretty
How-
self-explanatory.
yeah.
What are the chances of a species that was like a nomadic spacefaring species that evolved from an aquatic species comes across a giant sphere of water in space?
100%
That's
it's
why
Star
we've only
Trek.
found one of them.
I mean, most
100%.
water is extremely common in space. They just ignore it in most of the episodes because it's hard to render.
It also mostly comes in ice form.
Yeah, it took billions of years for it to rain enough water to fill up our oceans, and get enough oxygen to fill up our atmosphere. To the point that like, at some point people were worried because all the forest fires, are we gonna have too much CO2 in the air? And I read a science article that said like, look, even if we burned every living thing on the planet, we're still not gonna like go below 20% oxygen in our atmosphere. There's so much oxygen because we've just been making it for billions of years.
So what I'm hearing is that we can burn the Amazon and use it for fuel. We don't need it.
Prime Directive says you can, yeah.
It's our planet. We can do what we want with it.
Yep. We can do what we
The
think
Prime
is
Directive
appropriate.
respects property rights.
What property rights? This is space communism.
Show me the piece of paper where you signed to have ownership of this water planet.
Yeah, you gotta
can't have
speak
paper
a
on this
claim to the
planet, it's
ocean
water.
planet that overrides
wet.
theirs.
What are you saying, Argus?
The planet will make the water make the paper wet.
Why
So
do you
can be like
care?
Cisco. So
It
Does
does
sound
sound
pretty
stupid,
stupid.
Tom.
up
Yes.
the ship.
You're a stupid person, and you should feel stupid.
He's just like right in there for the water blob and space cause. He wants to preserve it.
Why is this scene in black and white if they're not playing the game?
It's still a
He's just hanging out
simulation.
from the game.
It's in the
It's still,
program.
yeah.
and
They're
it
killing the
has
planet, including the turtles.
It's like loading up Skyrim and just staring at the scenery. You don't have to be stabbing things.
But it helps.
All right. I mean, but so the holodeck is able to capture light photons that make everything black and white.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we can display things in black and white by using like monochromatic light.
What do you think he was doing with those flurry of button pushes before he left his console? Do you think
Locking
he
it
was like
so
closing?
Clocking
Tom
out.
can't do anything.
He was like closing his Reddit tab.
So here's a question: what do they do when they're dismissed from their active duty station?
They
Oh,
go
probably go toilet. Yeah.
go see their supervisor, be like, "Hey, what's up with that?"
They
Maybe
go
they go
to the
to like a
bathroom
vending machine
and
that's
then they
that's
stand
embedded.
outside the hallway.
Or they
like
walk to the mess hall and talk to Neelix until Tom comes back.
Until the leaks offers them something to eat, and they're like, "Nah, I've got to go back to work. See ya."
How long is he dismissed from his duty station? Could he say like 3 days from now when he hasn't done any work? It's like, oh, I got dismissed from my duty station. No one ever
Hi,
told me to go
Tom.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's got to be like it's up to the officer that dismisses them to tell them to go back, isn't it?
Well, they never do.
So Tom finds a loophole in the Prime Directive here, whereas if someone directly asks for help, then we can interfere.
How'd that work out for that species in Enterprise that we genocided?
Well, how'd that work out for Tom? It didn't.
This is when it becomes the crime directive.
Genocided?
Oh, look at that fade to
Which
black
one?
transition. Wow.
So you know
The
how
one where we
were talking
ignited the
about,
atmosphere, or the one where we didn't give them a cure to their degenerative genetic disease?
Yeah, that.
Why did you keep diving the shuttle like in at maximum speed? You can just like ease it
Yeah.
in. You don't have to just go for it and like
Yeah, you could
smash it in
stop at the
water again.
ocean, slide into it, and then go speed again.
They didn't have the
Um,
budget that Star Wars Episode 1 did for going into the Naboo world,
mm.
but that's the
Naboo?
shot we should have had. The Gungan underwater.
Oh, okay.
So we say that the Prime Directive or Starfleet in general respects property rights, but then you get Cisco who finds a Dominion ship and it's like, no, that's mine now. And then Dominion come
salvage
back
rights,
and
dude.
they're like, but no, that's
they
ours.
were respecting Cisco's right to salvage and plunder.
Mm.
More importantly, do you remember when he launched trilithium resin into the atmosphere of the Maquis worlds?
Everyone remembers that,
yeah.
and they bring it up all the time. Don't worry about it.
Benjamin War Crime Cisco. We all know.
He's always out there committing war crimes.
Almost as much as Janeway.
Janeway doesn't commit war crimes. They're not at war. They're just
Janeway
regular
commits
crimes.
temporal crimes.
It's not a war crime because it's not in the right quadrant.
So, Cisco and Janeway commit tons of war crimes. Captain Picard doesn't commit any war crimes because all the evil stuff he does, like multiple genocides, is with the blessing of Starfleet.
When does Picard genocide?
It's more like there's an asteroid about to destroy an entire civilization. We could totally stop it, but no, let's just watch.
The time when the not Mentakans, but the Worf's brother,
Yeah.
adopted brother's planet.
The time with the little kid on the lava world that was exploding.
I mean, let's face it. If Starfleet helped out in every situation that they could feasibly ever find, they would do
They'd have
nothing
hundreds
but
of thousands of refugees.
But I feel like we could at least help
they
the
got other
people who
things
are
to
going
do.
who are facing extinction level events.
Kill Tom.
I mean, they don't have warp tech yet, so no. Computer says no.
Oh, there's also that time Captain Picard tries to forcibly relocate some Native Americans out of their home. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Which starts the Maquis, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Good job, Cap.
I just want to say in defense of Ben Sisko, he is the emissary of the prophets, so he's allowed to.
He's got some free
anything
word
he
rights.
does is in
Yeah.
accordance with God's plan.
Yes.
Then Starfleet
Really,
that's
it's
doesn't
Sarah
how that
Sisko
works.
who's the war criminal.
Mm. But then you've got Starfleet who doesn't like the fact that Sisko is the emissary. So
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's so funny because like every time the Admiral says wormhole aliens, Cisco says the prophets, and it's like, are we talking about the same thing here? Because we're gonna insist that they're wormhole aliens. It's like, no, they're prophets.
Boom.
Oh, we didn't save Waterworld.
By the way, any kind of explosion like that causes a concussion in the water that will definitely damage those buildings.
And
even
that
though
was an
they're missiles.
antimatter warhead, like 10 feet off a building.
Like
It's fine, it's in water, it's fine.
fish should get knocked out and killed in just like underwater explosions. Like it can rupture your eardrums.
They had to use one of their precious torpedoes on this fiasco.
And they also had to use one of their green torpedoes. That was like one of the really fancy ones.
They're already deep into the negatives with torpedoes. I don't think they
I was
care.
gonna say they only have like -70 left.
I mean, they can buy more, manufacture more. So there must be a
Who
Walmart
cares,
out here
Janeway? They're
somewhere.
just fish people.
You can literally just leave. Like,
She's like, I could have
Their
destroyed your
entire
shuttle.
planet is smaller than Australia.
well, in diameter, yeah. But they're talking about volume rather than surface area, so it's a bit different.
I find it interesting that Janeway refers to Tom Sennett as prison. Is that as bad as their prisons go? Because that was a really nice rehabilitation center in New Zealand.
All right, dang it. Who's making me have to do geometry here?
Tom was just like gardening.
What have I done?
That sounds kind of like a Norwegian prison. They're pretty nice
So
compared to American ones.
Geometry's not that hard. Everyone's favorite. It's 4/3 pi r cubed. There. Done. Where r is 6,000 kilometers.
Oh, it is solitary. You got okay.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it's pi r squared.
Oh, 30
No.
days without Balana.
Days
Not
in the
for a
hole.
cube.
4/3 times pi times 6,000 kilometers cubed is the volume of the water sphere.
30 days
Squared
without
is
Captain
area.
Proton program.
I'm pretty sure it's 4 pi r squared.
He's
I
not
think
so worried
I
about
think the
Balana.
internet
like the surface
agrees
area.
with me here.
So what
If
does
it's
that
6,000
officer now do?
squared,
Like the one
What
that
are
was
you
standing in the brig? Does he just stand in the brig forever with no one around?
Yeah. He's like bloody Miles O'Brien, but for the brig.
This ship's understaffed.
But
no,
solitary
no.
confinement is considered inhumane punishment by the amnesty and all that.
Catherine
doesn't
War
stop
Crimes
any prison doing
Janeway.
it.
All right, so their entire planet is the size of a handful of Australias. I hope you're happy.
Well, did you consider how high up in the air Australia goes?
Well, no. How high up?
Are
in
we
the air the
calculating
highest
volume of
building in
Australia, or
goes?
It's
or
difficult to do a
area?
comparison like that when you're
We're
comparing flat
calculating-
ground.
It's very
to a
difficult
sphere.
to compare volume versus area.
We're
'cause they're
comparing
ruled in different
surface
ways.
area of Waterworld to surface area of Australia.
Well, we don't care about the surface area of Waterworld
They don't
because
live
we
on
live
the
inside the
surface.
volume.
What you
Alright, so-
actually have to do
Volume
is you have
of
to take the
Australia.
tallest building in Australia.
No, it's not
And then
tallest
calculate
build.
the-
It's not tallest
No,
build.
it is because
you
it's
don't get
structures.
to, you
We're
don't
talking
get
about
to,
It has
the
to be a
volume of-
physical building.
you
Yeah,
don't
it
get
has to be.
fly over wherever you
we're
want as
talking about
long
the
as there's a
volume of
shorter
structures.
building.
Yeah,
We're talking about the
It's
total
not
volume of
Australia-
structure you could build.
you can't feasibly build everything as tall as the tallest building, though. Like, you have to.
Why not?
We have to
It's
give
surface area
some
of the
level of
Countries
and volume
control
of the planet.
airspace. Like, it's
Or
not
it's
like the
devolved
planes
so
have to
badly.
fly around at building level all the time.
Okay, I'm cutting off this conversation. It's over. We're done. The next episode is Counterpoint.
Counterpoint. Well, first,
No,
yeah,
Counterpoint. 1 minute to Counterpoint.
Volume versus area
1 minute.
is in fact.
Be silent to keep your forked tongue behind your teeth. Okay, 50 seconds. Everyone queue up. Season 5, Episode 10, Counterpoint. We're gonna listen to some classical music. It's gonna be good and chill.
And we can forget about the dead water world peoples.
did you know that Australia has a surface area of 692,024 square kilometers?
Did you know it's really
No,
hard to
I
measure
didn't. That's
the
a very interesting
shoreline
fact.
of any country?
Anything.
Did
Because
you know that
it depends. The shoreline is constantly changing, first of all, because of the waves. But also, if you use, like, it depends on how big is the yardstick or the meter stick that you're using to measure. Because if you use a smaller one, you'll get a longer distance. And if you use a larger one, you'll get a smaller distance.
Did
So
you
it's
know
actually
you should
huge.
press play in
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play?
Okay.
Did you know that if you can't use old GPSs in Australia because Australia has moved just enough on its tectonic plate that it'll think you're just like a couple meters off?
Did you know
If
it's
they
hard to
haven't
measure
been
the
updated.
circumference of your shoreline because it's always growing?
Also, so we mentioned how the Earth is one big rock with like a
Also,
little
the
bit of
issue
water,
of
with a puddle of water on it.
But it does have
Actually, the
layers.
Earth is
resolution.
Shaka!
the Earth is one big rock with several smaller rocks on top of it.
No,
Do you know who
it's
that man
one-
is? That's Prax. Everybody loves Prax. Why am I suddenly getting static?
I heard it too.
Prax has tapped into your feed. Gotta make sure there's no. What is it?
Yeah.
What is it? These guys don't like telepaths or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
they hate
yeah.
telepaths.
We're
Prax
looking
is
for-
tapping into our stream.
If anyone heard the static, it means that they are in fact
Oh,
telepaths.
It robo-static.
Oh.
We're deviating from
What's that?
inspection protocols,
You're being
guys.
staticky.
There's
I'm being
white noise
staticky.
coming from your mic.
Okay.
Prax informant.
Prax.
Okay, so the
Cracks,
continental crust that makes up the ocean floor and the continents that we like live on,
Yeah.
they're made of rocks, right? But underneath that
Yeah.
is molten rocks. So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
just rock on top of floating on top of molten rock.
At what point,
Yeah.
though, does it become molten rock and solid rock, or are they just
don't-
fused together
we
The
don't
mantle is
exactly
the
know.
world's
into
biggest
one big
lava.
rock?
Wait, what's the total volume of all the oceans on Earth?
Jesus, man.
if
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
Jeez.
shoot,
Ask NASA or something.
That's
If we
a
took all
smart
the
question.
water on Earth and put it in a big planet, would it be bigger than the planet in the last episode?
that's my question.
Okay,
Yeah.
hang on,
Use
hang on,
geometry
hang
to
on, hang on,
figure
hang on.
this out.
What,
Shut up.
What? It's the intro.
The volume of Earth's water is 332.5 million cubic miles. It has a diameter
miles.
of about 1,400 kilometers, which is slightly smaller than the water world, which was 1,600 kilometers. Or was it 1,200? How big was it?
1200.
Wait, how much
Wasn't it
water did you
1200?
say is on Earth, Ryan?
332 miles of
Cubic
square.
miles.
Not
That is a weird unit.
332
Why didn't
something,
it
yes.
just cubic kilometers like everyone else?
Cubic
does?
miles is
Fine,
just such a weird
1.39 billion cubic kilometers.
All right, 2 billion. Almost.
That's
No, 1.4.
not even close to 1.39 billion.
Okay, sorry.
Oh yeah, it's just round up.
Like, what, with
It's a lot
1.39
of
billion.
Per
and the
astronomy
other one is-
rules, this is what I learned
But-
in my astronomy degree. If you're within an order of magnitude, which is a factor of 10, you're good. You did it.
But also there's more water in the Earth's mantle than there is like on top of the crust. So
Wait, so
we're not counting that water.
We don't need
fine.
it.
But what is so? We've got 1.39
Yeah.
million.
Yes.
Billion
no,
with a
thousand-
B.
I did the math.
billion,
A
right?
billion.
And
Cubic
that's
kilometers.
1,400. That's 1,400 square. Oh, it's 1,400 radius.
It's more water than the water in the last episode, but not
Yeah.
by a lot.
I did the math.
less
I don't know
water.
if I did this right. I got 18 million cubic kilometers on Waterworld compared to 1.36 billion cubic kilometers.
Oh, look,
on
they're
Earth.
scanning a matte painting.
Do you think these guys have all the fanfics of all like the people that are on the ship? You know, they write the
All the
fanfics when
slash
they're
fiction.
alone.
Wait,
about
everyone! I figured out
themselves.
how they're hiding the telepaths. They're putting them behind the map paintings.
Oh my god.
Oh, very nice.
Very good. So the Catholic Church in its
It's like a Looney Tunes cartoon, like a Wile E. Coyote paints the hallway corridor, and they're hiding in a dead end hallway corridor.
Nice.
So we all know that to lie is a sin in religion. So but the Catholic Church has a exception in here, in that you're only supposed to tell the truth to someone who's entitled to the truth. So if Nazis come at your door and they ask, "Are there any Jews in your attic?" the answer is no. Of course there are no Jews in my attic, and then you close the door.
I don't have anyone in my
And then the
attic.
Nazis blast down the door and go up into the attic anyway.
But Prax is so
Which way they
helpful.
discover that you were
He
infecting
solved
the
the engineering problem.
Maybe Neelix has telepathy, but his telepathy is so powerful it can't be detected. Like he's using his telepathy right now to interfere with the telepathy scanning machine.
Also, I don't know if you guys noticed in the credits, but in this episode, we get Degra.
Yeah.
Degra's here. He's pretty cool.
When do we see Degra?
He's one of the telepathic refugees.
Ah, okay.
It depends what
Artificial
standard you
telepath.
measure that by, because she
Yeah.
is technically a telepath to other
Artificially a
Borg.
telepath.
How did they
because-
already not know about her, though? They've been on the ship multiple times already.
Well, they can't be bothered to send the same crew each time, so they have to ask the
Oh,
questions
okay,
every
okay.
time.
And they have to scan each and every crew member. They can't just already pre-clear the person with a tattoo or something. ID card.
Can you stop touching our 3,000-year-old artifacts? They're very
Yeah, we
fragile.
specially collected and curated those from different cultures, and we
What
don't
is
want
that
you
egg?
touching them.
Why does she have a big egg?
It's how she gets hungry. Big brick.
I remember when I watched this episode, I thought it was so boring.
You think the big egg? Oh no, it did survive the Year of Hell, didn't it?
Yeah?
Somehow.
They just replicated a new Priceless
It's
artifact.
hard
It's fine.
boiled, probably.
These are the Devore? Wait, I thought the Devore were the time people. Who are the time people?
Those were the Krenim.
Oh, yeah.
Could the Devore be one of the enemies of the Krenim? In one of the alternate timelines? No, they would have been erased. Unless they didn't get erased. That episode, the logic of what happened after that episode is a little bit of a headache.
So, Gustav Mahler was an early 20th century composer who was born in Bohemia, which is now Czechoslovakia, but then it was Austrian Empire. But he was born to Jewish parents. He spoke German, and he later converted to Catholicism because it wasn't a good idea to be a Jew in the early to mid 20th century. So it's kind of interesting that they chose his music because it's someone who had to hide their origin to survive.
I'm sorry, Ear Review. We don't want your insight.
Are you telling me this episode might have historical analogs?
We don't need
about
your
people-
intelligent commentary here.
And you know,
This
speaking
episode
of,
about hiding a persecuted minority in their attics. What would that relate to anything?
From a series of
I don't know.
extremely intrusive, xenophobic, black-wearing fascists.
yeah, actually, and
Whoa,
so
whoa,
the
whoa.
fashion.
Nazis didn't wear. Well, no, some of them did. I was thinking most of them wore gray though.
Close enough.
Mussolini's had the brown
Monochromatic.
shirts, and Hitler had the
Patches.
black shirts. They copied.
No, I'm
like,
pretty sure the
Mussolini
brown
copied.
shirts were from Firefly, dude.
No, brown
In-
shirts.
in
those
Star
are brown
Trek?
coats are
In Star Trek, they have the red
brown
shirts.
Shirt is something. Brown coats is Firefly.
I like that Janeway gets a boyfriend in this episode.
Kinda.
He does that a few times.
He's a good boyfriend for her. You know,
No,
like he's
He's a
Not the end.
Nazi.
yeah. I mean,
No, he's not. He's a good guy.
Just
I
because.
think you guys
See,
are
but if
forgetting
you
how this
get to know
episode
him, you'll
ended.
find out that he's. I'm not even gonna.
I would have
Nazis can be great boyfriends if you're Aryan. What are you talking about?
I would have fallen for him. I would have stuck with him. It kind of hurt me at the end when he betrays her.
Spoilers. Gee.
He would have been a good addition.
Oh,
to the
I'm
boys'
sorry.
crew.
You're telling me that the crew did not bring on a Nazi as a new crew member.
Look,
No, they
Are
brought
all-
7 of 9 on. Like, that's
I don't want
worse.
to. I don't want to get banned, but were all Nazis bad?
Yes.
Most
Yes.
of them. If they were good Nazis, it's within the scientific margin of error.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like-
technically Von Braun was, but
Von
Like-
Braun was aware that his projects were weapons of war and built by slaves.
yes, but then he went on to like do cool stuff, so it's okay, I guess.
Well, the choice
Okay.
for Von Braun was do cool stuff for America or go to prison.
Oh, here's where we're hiding the.
No, it's do cool stuff for America
Oh
or go to
God,
the Soviet
Vork's
Union.
alive. There's Degra. That's Degra.
We got to him first. It was U.S. or prison.
Okay, I would like to end this line of dialogue about whether Nazis are good.
Yeah, let me shut up.
And I'm going to end it with a no. Anyway, yeah, Degra's here. He's pretty cool.
I bet
So-
they really will
Degra.
not see this coming.
Two of my favorite fan channels. They've done a discussion on YouTube of how Andor discusses is a perfect embodiment of how fascism is meant to be in Star Wars. And something really amazing when George Lucas was making the original Star Wars, A New Hope, he talked about how the Ewoks, they were kind of like the Viet Cong, the North Vietnamese resisting American imperialism.
No.
And so, you know, the entire point of like fighting the empire, like America is the empire, you know, it's and so in sci-fi, whenever you have any kind of
Dude, I'm sorry. You lost me when you said the Viet Cong were analogs to teddy bears with spears.
George Lucas said it, not me. But because you know they're
Remember
natives,
during
they
the
don't have the
Tet
technology.
Offensive when like, they rolled the logs down the hill with the Americans and they slipped on them and fell over.
Okay.
You guys remember when
Um,
Saigon turned into Yub Nub City?
And so the thing is that any discussion of like violence in sci-fi is political. So Star Wars is political, Star Trek is political many times.
Don't read mine, you jerk. Stupid child.
Interesting bit of trivia in this line is that it was like a poll done in Germany. Maybe like
If
think it
you
was,
read his
late-
thoughts when he's telling the story, can you at the very least not constantly interrupt him? Like he was literally going to say it right as you did. Like I can do that, and I don't have telepathy. I can. Just
Okay,
pick
you
that up
don't
from
get
context
you don't get to
clues.
complain about this child interrupting someone when you literally interrupted Argos to say that.
Yeah, Argos kept saying they did a poll in Germany.
I think it was the late 40s, early 50s,
Mhm.
and the question was something like, oh, if there hadn't been a big world war and all that, do you think Hitler would have been one of the greatest leaders of all time? And the majority of people said yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's
So they were down with the genocide. That was cool.
Yeah,
I mean, so like the
we-
caveat at the start of the question was like, if there hadn't been a big World War II and all that, then it asks the
Right.
question.
like in the after, like during
genocide had been
But
allowed
like
to
the
happen
point
unabated.
there being is that even after all of it, the majority of people somehow had a favorable opinion of him.
in the aftermath of the war, like in Western Europe, the Allies tried to re-educate like the German population, and it largely didn't work in a lot of areas until like the next generation came, and then they realized like what happened, and then even then,
The next generation?
Let's
Yeah.
shut up, Brian.
Like
I'm trying
the
to talk about the
60s,
Holocaust.
The
And
people who grew
then
up in the 60s after the
It didn't
war
work
era.
until the Voyager
yeah,
came along.
and then even then, like in Germany, like there still aren't any Jewish people, and
That doesn't
It's
sound
e-
right.
An exaggeration, but
Yeah,
there
for the
aren't-
most
yeah,
part,
there's so
everybody
few of
left.
them, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
I mean,
many
yeah, it
German,
wouldn't
like
be on the
a
top
lot
10
of the German
places,
population sees them more as an like abstraction
right.
rather than
is
like an
probably true.
actual group of people that live within their communities, which
Yeah.
is
that's
bizarre.
True, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have two comments I want to make that aren't really, well, one's kind of related. Looking forward to next week's episodes, I'm proud to announce none of them are Nazi related at all. Finally, for once. I mean, Jesus.
Well, I better not see any more Nazis.
Also, this episode has a Star Wars connection. This guy's name is Kashyyyk.
Oh,
So
where was
that's
he in?
fun.
Boo.
What?
With
No,
Kashyyyk is in. Where's he in? Where's Kashyyyk in Star Wars?
You disappoint me greatly.
Look, I'm here. for
Kashyyyk
Star
is
Trek
the
original,
home world
okay?
of the Wookiees.
Okay.
Except they spell it with 3 Y's because they're fancy.
That's Kashyyyk.
Sorry.
It has multiple acceptable pronunciations.
That we can't pronounce.
So
I don't speak Shirwook.
this guy is madly in love with Janeway, and he's
No, he's
willing to
not.
overlook the fact that she's hiding telepaths.
That's not true at all. This guy he's just trying to find the
So-
telepaths.
Something interesting about the implications of this episode, though, is that like if you're a telepath and you can be detected, that means that somehow if I put a tricorder and I see psionic brainwaves coming out, I can figure out you're a telepath. So Deanna Troi, half Betazoid, that kind, you can't hide. Obviously Vulcans who are like only quasi telepathic.
But even they can be detected.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
just disappointed when they beamed back in and Tuvok and Vorik were still alive.
What kind of telepathic powers do the Vulcans have? Is it just the mind meld stuff?
I think once or twice they've had regular telepathy where they can just talk to people at a distance.
Empathic.
Because I'm obviously not down with the
They're
we
not
can
empathic.
communicate across light years thing from
Yeah.
another certain series. That seems like a bunch of bullshit. But like,
Yeah, that was in TNG, I believe, introduced that.
Mm-hmm.
Discovery was very much not the first time they mind meld across light years. That happens at least one other time in an old series.
It happened to the Star Wars too in the Skywalker saga.
yes, famously Vulcans are in
Different set
Star
of
Wars as
rules.
well.
I remember when Spock came up behind the Emperor and he was like, Sidious this, and then he did like the neck pinch.
And he
So many references
Tuvoked all
combined
over
into
the
one.
Death Star? What do you...
And then he Tuvoked all over the bits.
I like how Janeway didn't fall for this guy for like a second. Like I was.
Yeah, but the episode like convinces you that she does,
Yeah, she goes along.
and
with
then
him.
right at the end, it's like, oh, I'm dumb
It's
and
just-
she's smart.
Yeah, I'm too old to get
Clever
played
girl.
by. Yeah, by a beautiful face.
Are you okay?
I
think
might
you
not
forgot.
be.
Did you forget the meds today?
I have to constantly ride the volume slider for you because it's just so calm, then just freaking out.
This isn't even like real laughing. This is just like forced.
This is how I laugh. I didn't
No,
ask
it's not.
to be
No one
this
laughs
way.
like that.
No, it's. I had a friend. Well, in college, in our college club, there's a girl who had like a porcupine. Sorry, a dolphin kind of laugh. She sounded like a dolphin that was. Sorry, what's
Very
a
quiet.
porpoise? You know, a porpoise has a whistle. You know, like
Yeah.
So she sounded like
Yeah.
a dolphin, like whistling when she was laughing. So some people really
How do you
have.
learn
Oh yeah,
that though?
I had one of those too.
Infinite
like,
diversity and infinite combinations.
Everyone kind of learns their laughter off of someone else, like by
What?
example.
What do you think a porcupine laugh sounds like? Like, what does a porcupine say,
Very
do
subtle.
when it sees something really funny?
Porcupines don't strike me as a species that has a sense of humor.
I've met porcupines. They don't have a sense of humor. They want to stab you with spikes.
They seem very rude.
I mean, Sonic
You know-
has Sonic.
Yeah,
the
they keep
Hedgehog
turning their
clearly
back
has
to you for some reason.
a sense of humor, and he's similar to a
It's because
porcupine.
they're squishy and they think, oh,
It's a
this
hedgehog.
thing's going to kill me. This thing is 1,000
Wait.
times my size. It's going to kill me. Help.
When Kashyyyk says that Janeway's a humanitarian, is he trying to empathize with her? Like, yeah, you're a human supremacist. You're a humanitarian. I'm a devoritarian.
You guys like authors. I like authoritarianism.
Yes, authors should be in charge. At least they'd come up for good. Like they would be able to spin good stories as to why things are happening. So it would at the very least be an entertaining journey.
The most interesting police state.
Yeah, like your life is just a continuous Star Trek series.
Sorry,
There's
the
a-
release date
I'll
of
write it
today's
for you.
propaganda has
Interesting
been
dystopia.
delayed.
Release date on the next day.
Shoot him.
Why
Actually,
don't-
no, we can use him.
Why don't we get a telepath to probe him?
He's probably got some kind of
What?
sixth sense. I don't know.
It took us
Maybe
2
he
days
himself
to
is
locate
telepathic.
Turat. 2 days.
This whole episode is a Prime Directive violation. They're clearly getting involved in the internal affairs of another society. Very involved.
Well, they're warp capable.
Yeah, but that
No.
doesn't always. That's
They
not how
need-
that works.
They need
They s-
permission to travel through their space. That's why they're hiding their telepaths.
They're not hiding just their own telepaths. They're transporting refugees. When I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's wrong, but
Okay,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure it's a Prime Directive violation. Also, is this man a fish?
He's a great outfit.
My god, just use your phasers. Take out his engines. Oh my god, even aliens can't get away from being kidnapped on the way to conferences.
You just go to a conference, it's like the biggest security risk of your entire life. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Is this
So,
okay? Is
I'm
this
just-
safe? His ship's still at warp, right?
Yeah, I was
It
going to
just
say,
warps away, like, faster than they
if
can go.
starships work anything like planes do, you set that thing on autopilot, and it's just going to keep going in that direction forever.
They beam the keys out of the ignition, and it'll eventually just slow down.
What is this thing that they just presented him with? It's like drugs or something. This yours? This yours, buddy?
I don't know. What a fish like?
You try.
Salt.
Nutrient
shrimp.
pellets.
Yeah, plankton.
Oh, get ready for some excellent prosthetics.
This guy's prosthetics are pretty good.
But he has a
It's
thing
much-
with his nose. It's very special. Like Dr.
don't
Phlox turns into a puffer fish. This guy goes mini puffer. Yes.
Oh,
Wow,
I love that trick.
He's got the puffy nose.
that's great. I want that.
Well, you can
It's
can
like, I
puff
know
up
how
your
to find
cheek.
all the interspatial flexures. I find the best interspatial flexures.
You can just put some bubble gum on your nose and breathe through it.
So do you think that thing that weird breathing nosy thing he did was like inside the mask, or was it CGI?
I mean, I
It-
heard. I don't actually believe this, but what I heard is that it was an accident to the prosthetic, like he was just trying to breathe and it puffed out. And they were like, oh, we can use that.
Ooh, strange,
That makes
fishy,
sense.
weird thing. Yeah.
It's kind of dangerous to cover up your nose.
That's why he has the holes coming out of his eye sockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still has breathing holes, they're just not where the normal holes are on a human.
Yeah.
What? Oh. Ooh, he's so excited for his brain.
It does look like what would happen if you just happened to blow air out his nose with the prosthetic on.
I resent
Story
that
is quite
Janeway is back
plausible.
to calling it a wormhole. That could describe any number of astronomical phenomena. It's an interspatial flexure.
Why are they working with the Nazi when like 7 of 9 is probably better at this?
Because, I don't know. Title drop.
Have we seen
There's a
7
lot
of
of
9 in this entire episode?
Yeah, she
Only they asked her, "Are you a
she's not
telepath?" And she
telepathic.
says no.
It is a cybernetic implant.
This isn't Mahler. This is Beethoven's symphony.
I've just realized it's now snowing outside.
Good.
Oh, you just
Good.
realised?
Yeah, it just started snowing.
Oh, it's been doing it for like a day here.
Not done here.
I
What do you
gotta
mean
start
down
listening to
here. I'm
Mahler
down as
after.
down goes.
Well,
I
it
don't
hasn't
like
been
this
snowing all
man's
day,
pants.
but it is now snowing.
Is
It was
Kylo
snowing-
Ren pants? That's another Star Wars crossover.
It was snowing and I missed it for being sick. I'm sad about that.
Oh, you just
Oh.
need to go to the window.
Oh, that's easy.
I didn't know it was snowing because I was inside the whole time.
Again, window.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I just looked outside. I'm not going to
The
open
big
that door.
holes
It's
that you
cold.
cut in the
I
side
mean-
of the house and fill with glass so that you can see outside.
Yeah, if I'd had reason to bother looking outside.
Oh, you don't look outside regularly. You
At
just
this
stay
time
inside.
of the
and-
year,
Not if I'm sick and just can barely do anything but,
Oh,
you know,
you don't look
watch
outside
TV.
longingly like, oh, if only I wasn't sick, I could go out there.
I don't think that would be good for my morale
entirely
in those
this
situations.
Nebula.
You know, castles, they didn't have windows in most of their rooms, and it was like a serious problem. Because it's like you could have a giant building, but there's no access to air or light. So you should
Yeah,
get out of
'cause
that
if you have a
dungeon.
window, someone could throw fire inside it, and that's a big problem.
Yeah.
It's a
This
military
would seem
structure,
more
not a
reasonable
house.
If they hadn't
I just want to point out that
had a
Janeway
episode
is
about
actively.
the Prime Directive, like
Yeah,
they-
she's literally just being like, oh, whatever.
Last week.
You just need an HVAC system in your
She-
castle.
Wow.
Oh, earlier at the very beginning of the episode, when they were talking about telepaths, they were like, oh, it's part of our cardinal protocol. They have their own
No.
prime directive, but it's a different name.
That is kind of painful. It's a little on the nose.
That's fine.
Um,
Noses are most of people's prosthetics in this show. Also,
It
that nebula
shouldn't-
they're talking about is referenced in Prodigy or Lower Decks, one or the other. I think it's Prodigy.
Hey, I like how here he pretends to have remorse. He's
I
like,
feel like it
yeah,
would be Prodigy because Lower Decks is in the Alpha Corner.
I sent a little kid to a concentration camp, and I felt bad about it ever since. So thank you for rescuing me, Captain.
We're gonna go get the kid back, though, right? No.
Oh no, they're dead.
Um,
Long ago.
we don't know what they do with the telepaths. They might make them do encryption problems with prime numbers.
I'm pretty sure they execute them. I feel fairly confident in that.
You could have them break 128-bit encryption.
There's no point in breaking encryption where you can just get the person and break their knees.
You just break their encryption internally with your
Hack is a
telepathic abilities.
polarization axis.
Just read their mind to get their password. That's breaking encryption.
Yeah, like LastPass isn't going to protect you against that, unfortunately.
You know, the Federation hunts down genetically engineered people. They hunt down telepaths. Everybody has a different idea of what the ideal genetic purity of your population should be.
What?
Let me mute. Sorry.
What do you mean, everyone?
I'm just
I
saying.
don't.
Different.
I don't believe in fascist supremacy.
I'm just
Don't
saying
try
the
and-
Federation has its own hypocrisy in this matter.
Don't
And that
try
if you're
and
genetically engineered, you're not going to be fit for society.
don't
just
try and
because
implicate
you were-
me in this when you say everyone.
You were born the wrong way.
Don't act like you don't think you're the Ubermensch.
I don't think one security guard outside the door is going to help you with this guy.
Well, if he tries to force the door open, it may explode.
Well, that's the most obvious sensor pulse I've ever seen.
There's like a trident on top of the array as well.
And so they can spear things with it.
Voyager's been tracked by these sensor things the whole time in their system, right? In their space?
Mm-hmm.
Have they?
Yeah, because remember what they said one time? Oh, you took a variance from the flight route that we agreed upon, and they're like, "Yeah, that was a nebula anomalies."
Yeah, it was the nebula.
What's she even doing?
Come on, Balana.
I don't actually know what's happening right now. What are they trying to accomplish? I mean, they're trying to remain
shut
below.
down
Trying to
the warp
open a-
core,
see
so
the wormhole or something. I don't know.
because it'll turn them invisible.
It's really snowing out there. Like, properly.
Just leave.
Gray mode. What's gray mode?
It's quiet. Quiet
Okay, I guess
mode.
that's the mode where we hide the telepaths, and they have to try really hard not to think. The same way Anne Frank had to try really hard not to make a sound.
What?
Sorry, Lewis Black has a really funny bit about how you can't call someone a Nazi unless they're like a literal Nazi or Nazi sympathizer. But you just can't call your political opponent a Nazi.
Don't tell me
and
what to do.
But so, for example, let's say this is why the Nazis were so bad. It's because if you were Anne Frank, you had to play a game where you had to be really quiet and not make a sound.
There must be more to it than that.
It's morbid.
Yes, destroy the Devore. Kill them.
I think the best reason not to overuse any terminology like that is because it lets people that are actually bad creep in without you realizing. You just
Yeah.
get lumped in with all the people that you don't like.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe Voyager's overusing it a bit? Because this is like the 4th week in a row we've had Nazis in here.
We're
guy-
just getting used to space Nazis now.
This guy has good chest hair. Again, I think he's a great match for Janeway.
The moment.
Yeah, it's exactly what Jamie
But he's
wants. Sophisticated, you know,
evil.
intelligent,
Murderous.
confrontational.
Genocidal.
Yeah, not afraid to break her rules.
Like exterminating instincts.
Fucking right.
What was their
boy,
reasoning?
she
Oh yeah,
loves
it's about
murder.
trust. That was their explanation, wasn't it? The fact that you can never trust the telepath.
Yeah.
It
I
is
mean, I kind of get that. Yeah?
That's the thing.
Like, they
If
can
we
just
had
look into your brain.
telepaths, it would be a problem. Oh, that was Tchaikovsky, not Beethoven. I should
What
have
if the telepaths in your society decide that they don't want to earn your trust and they're just gonna read your mind all the time?
Yeah, or give away military secrets. But you don't have to squish them like bugs. You could just
Squash them.
What if I wore something to protect my mind, like some sort of hat made of a thin sheet of metal?
Perhaps, transparent aluminum.
Transparent aluminum foil?
Perhaps. Do they wrap their leftovers in transparent aluminum in Star Trek?
No, they turn their leftovers into matter replication.
They no longer enslave leftovers for purposes?
Nope. Ooh, look at that CGI ship.
This is
Don't get too
variable
close to it.
gravity area. Do we get a kiss between these two? Like they've been inches away from each other's face the whole time.
This is
Well, that's just because this is filmed in 4:3.
This is just because he comes from a culture where they don't respect people's personal space.
Yeah. Go Janeway.
Ooh,
Get on with your bad self.
really
Which is
getting
just
on with
sort
the
of in Star Trek
bad
in general.
person.
Most people stand uncomfortably close together just so everybody can be in frame.
They're in kith distance at all times.
They had a good thing going. I'm so sorry he still loved the Nazism deep down.
You know what? The only thing I love more than you is hatred.
No, but it's really like this character makes you like him, even though like you only know him for an episode.
I don't like this guy. He's a Nazi.
Well, it's
I don't
it's
like
somebody
his
who
ship
appears to be
being so
seeking
blurry.
redemption, isn't it? And lots of people like that.
I'm sorry, I missed the first half of what you said, Argos.
It looks like he's trying to seek redemption for what he's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. He has a good arc. Except he goes right back to square one.
He's
Do
like,
we
well,
ever see
actually,
this shuttle bay again?
Totally CG shuttle bay.
Oh, yeah, is this ever?
It was 1999.
Where is
okay?
this on the ship?
oh, it's in the back.
It's in the booty hole.
Oh, Seven gets another line in this episode. Wow.
I really love those transporter things, the sticks, because in the episode where Troy gets possessed, and the three other people, I think it's Worf and O'Brien.
Data.
She does such
no
great
problem.
acting. Yeah, thanks.
Wait, what's Tuvok doing out? They can
But-
see him. He's right there.
It's the
He's
first
on
time
the-
we see it, and they have to triangulate their signal with like 3 triangles. With the
He's
triangle.
right there. They can.
Why is
Don't worry about
Tuvok not in the thing?
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
So
oh, look, it's
before they were playing,
Prax.
before they were playing Mahler, now they're playing Tchaikovsky. Oh, Tchaikovsky was a repressed homosexual.
Okay.
That's why all his music has such great tension in it, because the tension of being married and not wanting to love someone else.
What?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not going to dispute. I don't have enough information to dispute that Tchaikovsky is a repressed homosexual thing. Like, that could be a thing. But I feel like there could be other reasons why. I don't know how art works, but I don't know.
It's a good way to channel your emotions.
So, you're saying if I want to be an artist, I
Yeah,
have to
have some-
become a repressed
have some
What?
internal conflicts and express yourself through the tension of your
I use my hair
situation.
to express myself.
I use programming.
Oh, you program your feelings, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ryan expresses himself with cows.
Well, no, it's true because
One time. One
Star
time
Trek-
it was cows.
the Star Trek
Right.
watch along screen, with the triangle ship in the top right corner and the counter and what episode we're on
And the
what's
triangle ship hasn't gone up in a long time, but I know there's at least one left in Voyager. There's one in the episode The Void, so we're not getting rid of it. It'll go up eventually.
So that's Ryan's feelings expressed in code right there. That's his heart.
That's not
honestly.
okay.
I mean, Ryan, by telling us that you have converted your human feelings into computer language, which is converted back into human language.
Racks. Why? Just purge the buffer.
I loved you.
You were
What?
my brother, Anakin.
Once a fascist, always a fascist. It was pretty messed up.
Ryan, can we have like a tearful montage of previous triangle ships to watch after the episode with the last triangle ship?
It would take me a while to put together, but because there's a lot.
If only there was a way we could know how many triangle ships.
The ends of their guns had like little plastic covers on them, like the toy guns you point at the TV.
Yeah.
So our heroes have lost. Janeway defeated.
I mean, they did lose last episode, depending on who you thought the heroes are. The
What was
Waterworld
happening
is going to
last
be
episode?
destroyed in 5 years.
Oh yeah. That episode got so we got so diverted. I even forgot what the heck it was we watched.
Where's Chakotay in this episode?
He's
He
in
was,
the pattern buffer.
He's not a telepath.
but he
So
could.
maybe they just needed a break from Chakotay for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
He's a telepath because he can access his
The bones of his ancestors.
not just. Also, I think I scooted forward an extra like 10 seconds on accident and pressed the wrong button, so I'm going to pause for a bit, sync myself back up. Okay, now I'm resynced. Chakotay can talk to his ancestors who are on Earth using his drugs and a feather. So that probably counts.
You can communicate with all sorts of things about drugs. I mean, with drugs.
How often do you communicate about drugs?
Oh, I'm doing it right now.
Wow. Okay. Yes, Janeway.
Good line, Janeway.
Are they bananas? What are they? Bananas! Kind of. Weird.
That's not banana.
It's
They're not
eggplants.
banana.
That's probably.
I
the
saw
only word
vaguely
for it.
banana shaped and I got excited.
Oh, did you? Well,
I
it says
did,
more
I
about you
did.
then, doesn't it?
The entirety of my household tried to drag me outside into the snow, and I was like, "No, it's cold." And came back to watch
Yeah,
Star
that's the whole
Trek.
point.
Yeah, we'll put jacket on.
I don't want to go out
I
in the
don't-
snow. There's snow out
I don't
there.
like.
There might be bananas out there. You never know.
Why don't you like the snow?
So this was really risky because everyone here could have died.
No, Degra can't die. He has to show up in Enterprise in a few years.
Yeah, in the past.
Yeah, he goes back in time through the wormhole.
Oh, I see.
It's one of those ones.
It's not a wormhole, it's an interspatial flexure.
Exactly. That's why I can go back in
A
time.
wormhole can refer to any number of stellar phenomena. It's a layman's term.
It's a hole in space that looks like a worm.
Prax! Jesus, Prax. Poor Prax, he's just trying to do his job.
Yeah, he
Rex
loves
is a-
doing his job.
Rex is a great guy, except that he's complicit in a fascist regime.
I didn't say it was a good job.
I mean, he does a very good job at his job. Let's be fair. Let's be fair.
No,
So one kiss isn't gonna fool Janeway, huh?
I would have loved it if she's like, I had to take a few precautions, and then she like pulls a gun out of like the center console and vaporizes him.
Kill him.
Use gun on man.
So the question is here: did he just like give it up because it would like put a blemish on his record,
Yes.
or did he be like, "All right, Janeway, you know, I like you. You win. See you later." Or is it a mixture?
I think he pulled in
I think
Odo.
it's-
He's like, yeah.
I think it's mainly about his career. Also, those ships really look like discount Romulan ships.
Yeah.
They look like crabs.
They look like a Romulan ship if it was a manta ray.
Yeah.
What's with all the fish in the last 2 episodes?
It's the fish
I
quadrant.
better
I
not
guess.
see any more.
What's the third
fish.
episode? Are there any
Where
fish
was-
in this one?
Tuvok and Vorik. What happened to Voyager's telepaths? They weren't on
They're
this
just
shuttle.
there.
Okay.
All right, the last
Hey,
episode
wait, did
is
how are they
Latent
gonna get those
Image.
shuttles back?
Don't worry
Oh,
about
yeah.
it. They're not getting them back. They're just going to make
We're
more.
not getting one.
Latent
Where
Image.
did the wormhole go?
It went to space. It's fine. Latent Image, which is about the Doctor and how the crew doesn't think he's a person this episode.
Why didn't they just go through the wormhole?
Isn't that like season 1 material?
Yeah, they keep going back and forth. The writers literally never decided if the crew thinks he's a person.
I think that's actually kind of realistic, though, if you think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Because
Is
like after a
it?
while, you kind of like start to forget. He's just he's hologram. He's just a tool again. And then like something happens to humanize him. You're like, oh, he's a person. And then I think it
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
Yeah, like you get into
I
a
think
long
it-
distance relationship and start thinking the person that you were dating should have all their rights stripped away. You haven't
Nah,
seen
it's
them
not
for a
that.
while,
It's
so
just
they don't
they,
really
they
exist.
become they just become an abstract concept in your head eventually.
Also, press play in 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
Engage.
There's an AI robot that gave testimony to the House of Commons, committee in UK, and you see like all the representatives are so like excited to talk to her, like, "Hi, welcome." And so at some point, we're
Paris
gonna be
Thomas
dig-
Ensign. Haha. Excellent. Wildman Naomi doesn't get a rank. Even Neelix said Neelix, in parentheses, crewman. Naomi doesn't get anything.
Maybe you have to be above 18 to be a crewman.
She is the crewman.
So does that mean Kess
Yeah,
would
Kess
never
has
get to be a crewman?
Yeah.
Though Naomi does have a little sticker at the bottom right of her name.
Maybe that means child.
It means subunit of Samantha Wong.
Stop grabbing the child. Leave her alone.
Yeah.
You can't touch things because it doesn't have real hands.
Yeah.
Primary adjunct of Unimatrix Wildman 1.
Naomi, you fool!
How'd she move?
They need one of those they put like the tape on the ground on a stage, just stand there. They won't capture anything for him because he's photonic.
I like how she went to be the taker of the photograph. and
It'll
he's
just
now
it'll
the
just
subject.
be like an image of nothing when they take a picture of the Doctor.
Whereas back before the 2000s, cameras and digital cameras were that big and clunky and ugly. Like you have
I
to.
mean, a hollow imager
Hang on,
might be
let's
that
see
big.
how detailed we get of Garrett Wong's anatomy here. Oh, it skipped a few steps there.
Yeah, we can clearly see that Garrett Wong has no dick. I'm actually planning to do this.
Garrett Wong is a
I
Ken
want to
doll.
get a. I'm hoping to get a 3D printer for Christmas.
You're
There's
gonna
a
3D print Garrett Wong?
No, I'm gonna I had some like scans done, of my organs, and I would like to see if I can get a copy of those for my medical records, and make like 3D replicas, life-sized, of like my own organs.
Yeah, so
Ooh, look at that Durabator.
he just told crewman Wildman that it takes a subatomic picture of you, and so he's taking an X-ray, a CAT scan, everything of you.
Is Harry a good liar? Harry knows what's happening here.
There was a real life incident of there was a liver surgeon in the UK where he was leaving his initials on the livers of people that he did surgery on, and it was a big kerfuffle in the media. And finally, the ethical board of medicine fired him, so he's not allowed to practice liver transplants or surgery in the UK. But the thing is, like, look, if you did a great surgery and you just did a little bit of initialing, is it really that bad? Like,
And yes, don't tag my liver.
if no
Yeah,
one
I mean,
can
it
see
is
it-
quite bad because in order to leave that initially, you have to like do damage to someone's organ.
What if they
It's a
sew a little smiley face into you? Is
it's
that
a
okay?
microscopic
You've got like
incision.
ASCII art like full on printed on your side of your liver.
They cut your whole chest open. Like, you trust them with your life, and they did a great job with the liver transplant.
Except for the part
Yeah, I
where they
think
stab your liver to draw some stuff.
Argos,
It shows pride in a
Argos,
way
can I
that's
draw my
probably not
initials on your
healthy.
liver so you have a little everyone's favorite walking around inside of you of all times? Would you be comfortable with that?
Well, the reason I'm bringing it up
I
is because
specifically am not on the side of it, so I don't know why you're asking me that question.
Oh, ear review, whoever said it.
fair enough, valid question. But my thing is, though, I'm bringing it up in the context of the doctor who took a picture of Harry's cranium and expanded the meninges, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's my initials on your."
He didn't say
book."
that. He said, I said that the technique was something he recognized.
Oh, okay. He's like, "Well, I'm the only
He
one who
didn't
does that."
sign Harry.
Okay.
The doctor, I wouldn't put it past the doctor. He's the type to be like doing that stuff. Like,
I would put it past
little
the
QR
doctor
code in there that
for
links to his
Harry. Nobody wants
portfolio.
to sign Harry. How come he's not using the emergency holographic medical channel?
Does he have his
Emergency
mobile
medical.
emitter on?
Probably.
The emergency medical holographic channel.
Is it on his
No, of
left
course.
arm? Yes.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just wear it on his forehead or something? Just something fun.
And if Janeway could just like
Because they
move
would
her
get
chin
sued
for a
by,
second.
Red Dwarf. If he wore it on the forehead.
He could just like wear it like inside his inside of his clothes.
Yeah,
Like he
could
does in
wear
that
it in a hidden
episode
place.
where he puts it in his boot and he has like 5 of them.
He could wear it inside of his.
Maybe
Flash.
the one you see on his arm is
Yeah, you
just
could
like
have
a
it inside
decoy
his torso.
holographic
There it
emitter
is.
for
There's
when
the
people
emitter.
try and like pop it.
Why doesn't it just be his comm badge or something? I don't know.
It's from the 29th century. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Technology,
it should
can't mess
just
with
be
it.
his comm badge. There you go. Great idea.
It
It's not their
Then
technology.
we-
They don't know how to
we
change it to a
wouldn't.
comm badge.
Well, it is Federation technology, but we wouldn't know when someone's stolen the mobile emitter if they just were wearing a comm badge.
I return again.
Welcome
I
back. How is
Did
outside?
you go to the snow?
I did not go outside.
Listen, there any bananas out there?
Outside is bad.
Well, fresh air is good for you.
Are you one of
Yeah,
those?
I can have the fresh air by opening the window and breathing it in. I don't have to go outside.
Yeah, at least do that though, because
I stood by the door while it was open.
You just didn't cross the threshold into the outdoors.
Are you like a reverse vampire? You can't leave a house without permission?
It's the reverse vampire.
I can't leave the house when the temperature is below 10 degrees Celsius.
You had to look at us, the wheels.
I mean, you
What?
live in the UK, don't you? So that must be most of the year.
Um,
That's
Well,
why he makes model starships.
that's why I go back to South Africa for the winter.
Are you saying?
Well, I mean,
none
it's
of you
winter,
as a
so,
child ever played with models when you were
I'm
boys?
literally flying back to South Africa next week.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
never played with boys.
What about girls?
No. Well, I
Ryan-
mean,
Ryan
I played on the
expresses
playground
himself
with people
through
when I was
language.
like 8.
I've completely forgotten the premise of this episode. What's going on?
The doctor
Everyone's
had his
gaslighting
memory
the
erased,
doctor.
and he's trying to figure out what the heck's going on.
Oh, it's this one. Okay.
Literally everyone's gaslighting him.
Not 7 yet.
It's like the opposite.
Oh yeah, 'cause she
of,
wasn't
She has no idea.
Yeah, she wasn't briefed.
it's like
there.
the
I
opposite.
don't think she was on the ship, was she, at that point?
No, she wasn't.
It's
It
like
was
the
season 3.
It's like the TNG episode when the whole crew falls asleep because they find the planet that the aliens don't want them to find.
Yeah, it's the inverse of the data
Yeah.
It's like that, yeah.
And then Data's like, yeah, nothing happened. We were out for like 0.89 milliseconds. And they're Dr. Crunch is like, why did my plant experiment grow a full 24
Why is my
hours?
beard growing?
Yeah,
like,
why is
what
my
the
beard
hell?
They
It's
made
like-
so much Star Trek in this period. They were just ripping themselves off, like from
Oh, yeah.
5 years ago off.
Yes. Voyager
I mean,
is running out of
it's good
ideas at this
stuff.
point. Yeah.
It's a more interesting episode in the context of it being just that it's like the opposite. Instead of everyone but one person remembering, it's one person but
yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the question there becomes also like at one point Picard tells Data, I will deconstruct you piece by piece to get to what you're trying to hide. Because I've ordered you to tell me and you're disobeying me. So you have to tell me who ordered you to lie. And he's like, you did, sir. But like that's the thing. If you have if you have a robotic memory, like like C3PO in
He's an android, not a robot.
sorry. If you have an android with like something in his or her brain and you need to get to it, is it ethical to like crack open their skull and get their information? You wouldn't do that to a real person, but you do that to a hologram or an android.
Well, you do it to a real person if it was possible.
Oh, this episode. This is such a weird reason for the Doctor to not work. Like he doesn't work because he got sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got stuck in a sad loop, which we all can get stuck in.
A recursive loop of sad.
Yeah.
Did this ensign
I
actually
think-
exist in the early seasons? Or is she an invention?
She's an invention.
Therefore, this
like-
whole show is being told from the perspective of the Doctor, because we never saw her. We don't remember ever seeing her.
Plus, it is hard being a doctor because you do have to pick which patient lives and which patient dies.
Like, can Star Trek computers not deal with paradoxes still? Like, are we still dealing with like M5 technology?
Yeah. Well, that was weird. I don't like that transition.
No, I'd like to see that transition again.
And like the faces are all washed out, whited out.
Let's pull up the Picardo cam for the instant replay.
Let's maximize the exposure.
Now they're going to do it again? Oh no, they didn't zoom in.
She was like everyone's favorite character.
It was based on me.
Yeah, but look what happens to her.
She does
Well,
look
I mean,
familiar.
They
Is
can't
she in a
let a
different
Mary Sue like
series?
me be in a show like Star Trek Voyager. I'd be too good.
Oh wow. When he drops the camera, he takes a picture of that
Yeah.
discount
Oh.
erosion.
He chose to kill her instead of Harry because she
Yeah.
threatened to kill him.
Yeah, it was and she later ended up. She actually did sort of kill him because, or he would have died.
She didn't kill him, she just killed his autonomy as a person.
She killed him on the inside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I could never be a doctor because I can't make decisions like this.
I could never be a doctor because I didn't go to medical school.
I could never be a doctor because I just don't have the capacity to go to medical school.
Wow. By the way, I think this is the only time in Star Trek we've seen one person fire one phaser and 3 people get hit and they all get zapped.
Well, it's got the big zapper on it.
What?
The bonus zapper for bonus zapping.
No, and also the shot before that was say cheese, zap. And 2 people are killed almost. Funny sequence of shots.
Ensign Jital, I looked her up, she's not in any other Star Trek, and she's barely in anything at all.
So there's a real life court case of Jodi Arias. This girl in Utah was a little bit crazy, and her
In
boyfriend was
Utah?
trying to break
Say
up.
it ain't so.
And her boyfriend was trying to break up with her, so she kills him. But like she takes pictures, and then she throws the memory card in the washer. But the police find it, and the last picture she took was of her foot next to the dead body, and they caught it. But the same way that the camera fell and like the picture was taken of the murder scene, that like sealed it. That made her like, you can deny. She said I was on the road for like the next 8 hours. I don't remember where I was, but that's the proof positive. So
It's gonna go through the wash just fine. I've done it several times.
yeah. So but cameras at murder scenes or
What about
can-
murders at camera scenes?
yep. Well, that's exactly what the episode's about.
Murders at camera scenes.
He's like a photographer. He's getting his photography hobby out.
He's using photography to express himself.
Don't do it, Doctor. You're vulnerable as long as you're in sickbay.
You took it off before it said transfer complete.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't get. Like, is the program saved on the mobile emitter or is it saved on the ship's thing? And there should be 2
Yes.
different. Okay.
No, there's only one copy that gets transferred between them.
But we know there's more
Yeah.
than one because we had the episode Living Witness.
And we have a future episode.
Yeah, but
where
that's
he's
why
also...
there isn't more than one anymore.
No.
Are you saying they lost the ability to make copies?
I love this fantastical Bluetooth technology where you can just be like, interface with this random device on the table, and the computer's like, okie doke.
Okay, does this 6-digit pin match the pin on the device you're trying to connect?
Yeah. Like, ugh.
Oh. Ah, this is why the screens are matched, so we can't properly see the reflection.
It
Otherwise,
looked like
could
you were using your
identify
mouse to click the screen for a sec.
It's really well done. We never see this in like anywhere else in Star Trek where the captain's up to some shady stuff.
The captain? What do you mean the captain? That was
What about the
a
Cisco?
mysterious force.
Like, do you have the right to delete someone's files if they're...
Like
Yes,
that
because he's not a
strap.
person, he's property.
And also, he would die.
Yeah, also he would stop functioning.
Hey, it's a skeleton. He was erased by a spooky skeleton.
My memories were erased by a skeleton.
Oh, it's just the captain.
There's a
Disappointing.
skeleton among us.
There's a spooky
Yeah, but-
skeleton inside all of us.
Yeah, be careful.
So, the captain is not your friend.
Is
When you were out
Chakotay talking
partying,
about his
I was
boxing?
studying the blade.
Since when does Seven sit there?
She's always sat there. It's just out of frame.
Mutiny, hang them.
Conspiracy.
Oh, Chakotay
Like,
knows what's going on.
I don't think anybody aggressively approaches Janeway on her bridge like that.
It was a conspiracy.
You're calling the captain a lying.
Me too, Tuvok.
He's
Freaking
been the
doctor.
governor.
Yeah, all this stuff has to be not in public, Doctor.
Kill her.
A Progus.
Is she gonna lie? I feel like she's gonna lie.
No, she's telling him the truth right
It's a lie of omission.
So yeah, your captain has the right to decide if you should know something. I think it's a later episode where the doctor wants to be a singer on another planet, and he's like, "Okay, I want to move now because I want to be like the
Do you,
Puccini of that planet."
do you think he would have figured out this whole conspiracy a lot faster if Janeway wrote her initials on his program?
God.
KJ.
This also could have been avoided if a year and a half ago, when she erased his memory, she was like, "Hey, look, there was some weird conflict in your program, and we had to wipe some memories. Don't worry about it."
Also, if he just had an emotion chip like Data does, you could just turn off the emotions because it's the emotions that's the problem. It's not the.
Yeah, but just turning off the emotions seems like a significantly more drastic step than erasing
Deleting the memory.
a couple memories. Yeah.
Sure.
It's like delete your personality or delete, 10 hours of memory.
Yeah.
I assume this episode is the premise for Photons Be Free. The doctor writes his holo program about being oppressed. Because this is nightmarish.
Mm-hmm.
People plotting a lobotomy for you, and you can't do anything about it.
Correct.
Is this a crime that Janeway's committing? No, because he's property. So yeah, no, this is all on the up and up legally. It's good.
When he wants to become a singer, a famous singer on a planet that's never had music before, she tells him, "Yeah, I need an EMH though on my journey home. So unfortunately, you can't go follow your dreams because you have a job here." So he is basically like the AI. He has owned status. I don't want to use that other word for someone who's owned.
Well, couldn't you also though say that he's like a member of a military organization and can't just desert?
What?
Yeah.
Starfleet's not a military? That's crazy. Why would you even suggest such a thing?
Yeah, but I'd say out of everybody though, your engineer and your doctor, they don't have a choice. They kind of have to. Everyone else is like, all right, go ahead, sail for Eliza.
They should have replaced him with the EMH they programmed in message in the bottle.
the one that just kind of stood there.
Yeah, the one that just stood there and recited Grey's Anatomy.
That's why this 7 thing is so great, because it's like 7's like, weren't you teaching me about individual autonomy and the beauty of being an individual and the sovereignty over your own?
Yeah, well,
self?
7's not property. The doctor is.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's
The
what
doctor's a
this
sovereign
conversation's
citizen.
about. She's like, yeah, that's for you. That's not for him. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
And the doctor's not a man. But then neither is 7, so.
And 3/5 of the population in the southern states was enslaved people, but they understood the ideal of human equality, even if they weren't practicing it.
I don't know if they understood the idea of human equality.
They wrote that amazing sentence that like we're endowed by our creator with inalienable rights.
Yeah,
That's
but they were
amazing.
pretty selective. with the we.
Inalien. The very word is racist.
If you could only hear yourselves.
It
But,
really stands out to me that everyone, like Kashyyyk, like 4 times last episode was saying, "Oh, Janeway, you're such a humanitarian." What does that
Yeah.
mean?
It is weird because if you believe in treating animals humanely, how is it humane
And
to be
no
good to
longer
a dog?
enslaving them
You know,
purposes.
like it should be. The word humane shouldn't really come into it because you're being nice to another kind of creature. I guess the idea is that we're the only species capable of compassion like that. Like,
What about the dolphin?
dolphin, orcas and dolphins will sick a great white shark and rip it to pieces. That's not very humane.
But so will like sharks. The sharks and dolphins are natural enemies,
Yeah,
just like
Like,
dolphins and.
Yeah, are there any other groups that are natural enemies that you could think of? Like Star Trek fans and other Star Trek fans.
see, like part of me is like the replicator. Like,
Kinda, yeah, Evan. I don't think Janeway ever even came up in Picard. You will be abandoned, yes.
no, but it's right. Like your hypocrisy is on full display, Janeway. You've been encouraging her to be an individual. We've been encouraging the Doctor to be an individual, and now Control Alt Delete his program.
It's like how the Prime Directive works. The Prime Directive only applies when it's convenient to the Federation. If it's inconvenient, they'll do whatever they want.
Like we
Oh
already
wow,
have.
Seven actually convinced her. Wow, it's like the
Yeah.
first time.
No,
Never
I mean
works.
she called her a hypocrite. That's pretty powerful.
We're
Although
only
she's the
halfway
best.
through the episode. What's the back half gonna be?
Well, they show the story of how exactly the Doctor kills a patient on the table by picking Harry Kim, and that makes him unpopular with the whole crew because that girl was everyone's favorite.
There was a good reason to pick Harry Kim. Harry Kim has already died multiple times. Ensign Jarrell, or whatever her name was, had never died before. It was her turn.
And to be fair, she was up for promotion, and he wanted to make sure that Harry would get his fair chance, which never happened anyway.
Even though we're now down 1 lieutenant.
Aw, everybody loves her.
Oh,
Was she
Jatal.
lieutenant?
Oh, good
was she-
grief!
No, I was thinking of Tom. Tom's not a lieutenant. His position's open.
She didn't even try to turn the
Yeah, she was
lights
ensign.
on. I have instantly lost like all like relatability with Jatel and her dying and such for being the kind of person who would call tech support without even trying to turn something off and on again.
Though, hang on. I just realized it wasn't the Doctor she threatened to kill. She threatened to kill Neelix. That redeems her.
That redeems her. And Tuvok was holding her birthday cake, so like, come on. He was getting into the festivities. This girl was the life of the party.
They've got some Granny Smith apples. One of the best kinds of apples. Maybe even the best. I don't like these first-person shots, though. Those feel weird.
It's called Breaking the Fourth Wall. Yeah, him and this camera. I guess digital camera technology was new, so they had to like show it off like this. Can you stop, Doctor?
Shoot him.
But yeah, in the 90s when you had a big camcorder and you had to feed the camera with like a VHS tape or an 8mm tape or something. There was always that one clumsy family member that insisted on being in control of the camcorder.
I never, whenever I fed my camcorder never seemed to enjoy it whenever I fed it VHS tapes, but it always seemed to enjoy the VHS tapes off the table. It was really weird.
What?
This alien is really ugly.
Well, okay. Well, one, that's racist. And
Oh,
two,
wow,
what are you
he's
talking about with VHS tapes?
I'm talking about feeding my camcorder VHS tapes.
Did
So
you
he
just
just
beam that
comes-
alien into
Just
space?
beam him into space.
Oh my god. Good
feel
job,
like
Doctor.
I feel like he sent him back to his ship, but I love the idea
No,
that
no,
he
no.
went back to space.
Just picks the coordinate directly behind the door and beams him into space. Why do we need pilots?
We're not going to warp back to Voyager. We're going at sublight.
I don't think shuttlecraft can warp.
I think
No,
this
these ones
one
can. It's the
They've got
TNG
little
ones that
nacelles.
can't. But they fixed that later because
I
it was
thought this
stupid.
was a TNG one.
No, this one's new.
This is an upgraded TNG one.
This is
No,
more
this
like
is
a
a Type 9, I
runabout.
think. Or Type 2/Type
It'd be
9.
really fun if
If-
he beams back over here and tries shooting him again.
We've never seen a single phaser shot in Star Trek injure someone that badly. Like there's third-degree burns all
Well,
over
with
their
the
face.
exception of completely being vaporized, yeah.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is though, so that should have at least fried the Doctor's mobile emitter.
Cool
How
shot
did
of
Voyager
Voyager.
come from behind him if he had turned around and set a course for Voyager?
They're coming in from behind.
Maybe they overshot when they came in. at
Maybe they
warp
were
speed.
flying the ship backwards.
Janeway said, take us out of warp a little bit too late.
Who the heck are these people? Since when does he have a medical staff?
Yeah, they erased the memory of those as well.
They erased the memory of the personnel cuts. For
Janeway
budgetary
transferred
reasons.
them to security, and we'll erase that too. He doesn't need to know that he used to have staff.
He complained about it a lot.
Maybe we
So,
could just
the-
use the Doctor's backup module to perform 2 surgeries at once.
The reason
Stop.
she dies is because he doesn't know
This is
her
before Living
is-
Witness.
is
They have the
damaged.
backup.
Yeah, but
And they have a mobile emitter and the sickbay emitters.
and the holodeck.
And yeah. This is easily solvable.
Or, hear me out, put a camera next to what the Doctor's doing, with a monitor next to Paris so he can do exactly the same thing.
Bring in that Cardassian war crime doctor.
So this is really funny. He's just
Have-
going to isolate the spinal cord from the brainstem. Sorry, Ryan, what were you saying?
Have
Just
Tom do
just have
Harry
Harris
surgery.
make the- just
So
have
when he
Harris
inevitably
make the
fails-
choice.
Yeah,
Like,
when
flip a
when Harry
coin.
inevitably dies because Tom's incompetent, it'll weigh on him extra hard, and we might get rid of Tom too.
Yeah, but
or
Tom
bring
will, just,
bring Neelix in. Better.
Tom will just become an alcoholic and overweight like Thor in Endgame.
I can so easily picture that. It's annoying.
So Doctor says here, I'm going to separate the spinal cord from the brainstem. But fun fact, your brain and your spinal cord form a single entity called the central nervous system. There's no separation between them.
There is
Well,
now.
this is the
There
future.
is 300 years into the future.
He's inventing he's using a futuristic technology called the K'nith, I believe, to separate them.
Like his entire programming as a doctor out of the shipyard didn't prepare him for this. Sorry, I don't mean to make light of it. but-
Maybe if Jatel didn't want to die, she
did-
should have thrown the Doctor a birthday party once or twice.
He knows
If you
how to
think
do
about it,
triage. He's done it
His
before.
program, His program should really have prepared him for this because he's an emergency medical hologram.
Yeah. Triage is his thing.
He needs a coin flip subroutine.
Wasn't there?
So, if Harry died, they wouldn't have been able to erase his memory because that means every single incident of Harry Kim would have had to been erased from Voyager.
This would be a silly question, but technically, weren't there 2 casualties? Because there was one death and 1 major injury.
Yes.
On the show, I've noticed that before.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Tom's rank. He's a lieutenant again because this is a year and a half in the past, so he hasn't been demoted.
Ooh.
Continuity.
The
Wow.
writers
Yeah.
actually did
One
continuity for
time.
once in their lives?
He has his haircut too. Why does she say
I don't think
memories
that's-
all sinister or like that?
Because they deleted the memories of the Doctor. That's why it's
It's
sinister.
now slow motion.
I don't think that was Janeway's
Also-
hairstyle a year and a half ago, though.
No. Paris's hairstyle. Oh wait, I see what you mean. Never mind.
No, I think she was still in this one in season 3.
Could have just been a bad hair day.
Yeah, he's
So it's
starting to
Neelix's
snap.
fault.
It's time to choose, Mr.
So what's-
Freeman.
It's Neelix's fault.
It's
Yeah.
So it's just
time
kill
to
him.
Choose.
Also,
They
he threw
should've- they
that
should've
stupid
just-
party.
Imagine if he beamed Neelix into space.
Yeah, making decisions is really hard. Because I saw like US soldiers after they come back from Iraq or Afghanistan or something, they go into the grocery store and then they have to like decide if they want like honey nut Cheerios or Frosted Flakes. And you're coming from a war zone, people are being blown up, you're losing your buddies, and now like your biggest choice is like Frosted Flakes or Corn Flakes. And they find it really hard to adjust to civilian life. And that's actually why they go back and re-enlist in the army for another tour of duty, because it sucks with this decisions. You do
Also,
go
we're
crazy.
in a situation where like everything, it's like being in prison and you get institutionalized. So like everything has a very specific structure,
Mhm.
but you just get thrust back into civilian life without any like reintroduction, and so suddenly everything is uncertain because everything is choice,
Mhm.
and it's not a good experience for a lot of them.
Yeah, and there's also certain triggers. Like I saw a lot of improvised explosive devices, like roadside bombs that they used in Iraq. They were in a pile of garbage on the side of the road. So a lot of times a soldier coming back home, if they drive on the road and they see a pile of garbage on the side of the road, their subconscious fear is that is there an improvised explosive device underneath that pile of garbage on the side of the road. So between the post-traumatic and the unstructured life, it's actually very terrifying. This is pretty realistic, though.
Wait, why would he... This seems like a
Always
really easy
like-
decision,
yeah.
though.
You always take the canapé.
But he's a hologram. He's not even just a hologram. He's a hologram and a slave. He doesn't
Wait,
get
what do you mean
canapes.
it's rude to talk about someone in the third person? That's what you do when you're talking about someone who is not yourself or the person you're talking to. Well, Robert Picardo gets to do like good acting in this scene. He's pretty good throughout this whole. The Doctor has to do so much goofy stuff.
Yeah, he's not singing.
The Doctor doesn't even have a password. Like, he just got deactivated with like a one button press.
No, it's a thumbprint scanner.
I saw this YouTube channel where a guy relocates to a farm, and he relocates his like wife and kids there too, and he's holding a baby goat in his hand that passed away. Farm animals get sick, and they die, and it's very tragic. Like there's a lot of tragedy on the farm.
And that's why you live stream it. So you can make the money from the tragedy.
So from crying over the
that
goats,
old-timey, simple farmer's life of starting a YouTube channel. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those kind of YouTube channels are people that have decided the farm life is for them, but they used to be, in quotes, city dwellers. So
Because they played Stardew Valley once.
Yeah.
Well, they have the incantations of technology with them. They know how to do a YouTube.
Yeah.
But like, from what I know about farming, it's basically the hardest job.
Yeah.
The hardest job is a writer for Star Trek Voyager.
No, that's
If
easy.
your
You just
name's
always
Rick
wrong
anymore.
great continuity.
It's
Do
a
we
good
honor
show.
Robert Beltran's contract? Or do we not include him in the episode because Chakotay does nothing?
Oh, he wants more money? I guess we'll just pay him more money.
Let's make him kiss 7 because we know how much he'll hate it. No, actually, to be a Star Trek writer is not an easy job.
I know, it's just like autonomic reflexes to make fun of Star Trek writers. It's comedy gold.
Okay.
7, I need you to help us in this conspiracy to cover up the doctor's emotional trauma. I know you were trying to be nice, but it was this whole fiasco, and we need you to never do that again, okay? Next time, the doctor comes to you and he says, I think the entire crew is gaslighting me. You continue the gaslighting, okay? I know it's problematic, but...
But it's okay.
It's okay. This is an order. We will fire you out the torpedo tubes if we need to do all this shit a third time. I've had it up to here with you lately.
She would have to erase 7 from all the Doctor's memories. It just escalates and it gets harder every time.
Eventually, it's just like that episode where Beverly gets sucked into the time tube. And she's like, what, am I qualified to run the entire ship by myself? And the computer's like, probably not.
Then she's like, computer, how big's the universe? And it's like, 12 cubic meters or something.
Yeah, the edge of the universe is over there by the table.
And it's getting closer.
So this is the therapy.
The rest of Star Trek Voyager is just this. Hold on.
It's just this for 2 more seasons.
Just let the doctor talk it out.
Eventually someone walks into the holodecks and says, "By the way, Captain, we're back at Starfleet HQ. If you'd like to have a look."
God, now he's getting into determinism. No, Doctor.
But you need to file the paperwork for all those crimes you did.
So like 1 hour every night, someone has to sit with the doctor and listen to this.
Yeah, they're on rotation.
Otherwise, he can't handle it.
Whoa, Doctor. What do you mean 20 billion years? Have we
14.
adjusted the... Did we recalculate the age of the universe by 2360s?
Maybe.
That's an interesting one, yeah.
I just feel like they made the
malfunctioning
entire
as we scroll.
holodeck out of umbrellas.
Here's the funny
Was
thing.
20 billion years even correct at the time, but as far as we knew?
So here's the funny thing.
I don't
There's
think we've
stars.
adjusted it that much since the 90s.
There are stars that are over 13 billion years old, but we know
That's
the
not
universe
true.
is 13 billion years old.
That's not true at
I
all.
thought we were at 14 point
No.
something.
The oldest stars are as the oldest planets.
Like what, 4 billion?
How is it we know the oldest stuff?
Well, you count the rings on the star.
The rings
Never
on the
ask
star?
a star its age,
It's,
a man its salary, or the emergency medical hologram, which patient to save when they're both equally healthy with equal chances of survival.
Someone
Stars are
knew that.
pretty predictable. once you know the evolution of a star based on its elements, you can pretty easily backdate it.
Yeah, but we're still
Use-
learning new things about stars. Every now and then we're like, oh, that's how they work.
So I posted in the Discord chat. There is a star that is 16 billion years old that we
What we
calculated.
calculated,
But
I thought
we
calculated
know
the age of the universe is 14
is
billion.
13.8 billion years old is how old
Yeah.
the universe is. So we don't know how, but somehow this star comes out to be older.
I think someone put
It
the
has
Did
a
you read-
decimal
scientific
point in the wrong
element.
place for calculator.
Yeah, did you
It's
read the
what's in
back
the
half of the
Institute of
article, which
Error.
is here's how we
yeah.
came to the conclusion that was actually incorrect and the 16 billion was wrong.
Okay. But
There
this is
can't be a star
1999.
older than the universe
So
physically.
this is 1999. That's what I'm trying to say. We didn't know that back then.
It was back in 1990.
Those results pop up occasionally, like the reason people thought like, oh, maybe tachyon's faster than light. It's always an experimental error.
Mm-hmm.
It happens occasionally. No, there's no
So-
star older than the universe.
So yeah, how is it we calculated the age of the universe?
With great difficulty.
The age of the universe is calculated by tracking
The
spatial
acceleration.
expansion and backdating it.
I hate
We-
watching
we
these
can-
episodes again because they
But
make
how do we know that that's the correct answer if we haven't observed the whole
we don't.
universe?
No, we can see with the Doppler shift how fast it's expanding outward. So
That's our
then,
best guess at the moment.
yeah. You know, the Doppler shift, the same thing that like when a car is approaching you, the frequency of the pitch becomes higher, and then it becomes lower as it.
No,
Me
it doesn't.
too.
I'm immune to the Doppler effect.
You're immune to... Okay.
Doesn't affect me.
All right. Well, good luck catching a incoming train.
I mean, I can just see it, you know? I don't need to hear it. I can just see it quite easily.
But if you're
Also,
seeing it,
yeah.
then it'll look ever slightly bluer as it's coming toward you.
But
Sound-
this is how we do therapy on Voyager. We just put you in a chair and read a book,
Like, bye.
then like figure it
It's-
out
I've
yourself.
got a
It's
shift to do. See
do it
you
yourself
later.
therapy.
Wait, did
Yeah, he's
Janeway
got the-
send Tuvok away and then leave?
Yeah.
Yeah, the doctor wanted to be alone for a bit.
But
Use
why
the
do we need the
IPM
holodeck for
manual.
this?
Didn't
Why
they
don't-
say he was being continuously monitored so he doesn't go insane?
Why don't we have a counselor's quarters for this?
We
I
don't
don't think we
have
have
a
a counselor.
counselor on Voyager.
Counselor died and their cores went to Neelix.
Yeah, with the bath.
There were plenty of people who died in the first episode of Voyager. There's
It
enough
makes
space
sense.
for Neelix.
It makes sense in this case why the book is open to here, because Janeway probably deliberately left it here. But it does happen occasionally as an annoying trope where someone is like, oh, this crewman died, let me go pick up this random book they were reading. Wow, it's so poignant to the exact situation that they were in.
Well, I think people make things poignant to the exact situation they're in.
Like
Anyway.
that time Data was going to be disassembled and he opened to some random page in Data's book and was like, ah, yes, I will never look upon this man again. For a man he is. It's like, really? That's what Data was reading right at that moment? Before he came up? Okay.
I mean, I think Data is the type of person to be
I thought he
reading
was
that
on
kind
the.
of stuff.
It would be a lot less poignant if he was on the page in Moby Dick about the whale foreskin.
It's just the contents page.
Yeah, Data reads books crazy fast too. Like,
Yeah. Why would he have a page that he's at? He
He
would just
doesn't read books. He just downloads them to his brain.
Probably just like looks at them because he's read them 10,000 times by the time he gets to that page.
just
So
assimilate.
he's just like pretending he's like LARPing as a human most of the time anyway.
It's like
Why does
he's
nobody
like
ever open a
Neo
book
in the Matrix?
in a dead crewman's quarters and start spouting off, and the Battle of Yonkers against the zombie horde, the U.S. military began to...
Oh yeah,
It's always-
that's a good one.
It's always something poetic. Every time. Anyway, that's the last episode for today. Next week's episodes are Bride of Chaotica, which is the only one that matters for next week.
Yeah, obviously. It's amazing.
Bride of Chaotica, which we all know what it is, Gravity, where Tuvok gets a girlfriend who kind of obsesses over him a bit, and they use the Doctor as a battery because they're trapped on a planet somewhere and it's a time distortion, whatever. Star Trek. And then Bliss, with the telepathic pitcher planet and the Dragon Slayer, and Naomi Wildman is there. And Seven and Naomi have to save the ship from the crew's hallucinations.
Because we're going back
Like
home.
fanfic.
Bliss is a good episode.
Okay.
Pitcher,
Bride of Chaotica and
Fisher,
Bliss are good.
Preacher.
Gravity's fine. It's
Fisher,
there.
the Kingfisher. It's a Kingfisher.
Kingfisher.
Yeah, isn't that the fish that has like the little self-luminescent lure coming out of its forehead?
The anglerfish.
The Kingfisher is a giant marlin.
Anglerfish.
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
Or deep sea anglerfish.
Though in later episodes they do refer to it as telepathic pitcher plant. It lures you in, and then it slowly digests you. Just
Ryan, would
very
you pick
rude of it.
Ensign Jetel or Harry Kim?
Just Jetel.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Chad.
Kim has already had a second chance. Or two.
Just let him die. It's the merciful thing to do. Just let him go. We're done here.